get started here. Cool, excellent, great. There we go. Top screen off. Hi, everybody. Welcome once more to Discussing Tabletop. It is, of course, 22nd of November. For those of you in America, hey, coming up on Thanksgiving, so be ready for it next Thursday. I don't know if I have to prepare for anything. It's one of those things because I'm in a household with a lot of people. They usually tell me, like, if I need help with something, and it's either I'm cooking there, or if we're going somewhere, we're bringing stuff. You know, I'm not usually the one in charge of the cooking. So, I don't know if I'll have to make anything. How about you, Worm?
I'm making a pumpkin pie.
Okay. Respectable.
I made a practice pie yesterday
Ooh, practice pie.
because I have not baked in this kitchen before. Let's put it that way.
That's a good thing to then test out because I guess it's, you know, different kitchens, different ways of working. That certainly is a thing to think about.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But no.
It went interesting. It took a lot longer to cook than I think it should have, but that might have been something else I did, so I'm not going to do that thing that time. Basically, I put a pan underneath it to catch any like drippings if I like overfilled the tin. But in the end, I think that caused it not to get as hot as fast, meaning it cooked a lot slower.
That can have an effect. You sometimes don't know what the effect will be for certain things, and that could have definitely had one. So.
And yeah, so yeah, I'm prepared to do, and yeah, hopefully things work out with it. My mom found gluten-free crusts at Trader Joe's, so I'll be able to use those because my mom has a gluten allergy.
That's understandable then.
So
yeah.
I'll be using those for the actual thing. I used a bread or a graham cracker crust for the test one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I can kind of say, except for a few things, my week has been pretty good. I mean, PAX Unplugged was fun. My phone is technically still broken, even though I went to the store today to get it fixed. I was telling Worm, it turns out they played around with it, and not all, but some of the plugs there seem to work after they played around with it. And then my car charger, which is something I bought from them, was working. Kind of. But also was kind of not perfect. And I was figuring that might have been the fact that, like, I'm moving around, you're in a car, you know, it bounces around, you know, if you're lifting it up, you know, to look at it, it's gravity or something's not getting in there. But no, it doesn't work at all with my wires here. So back to wireless charging.
Yeah, I'm like, I still have no idea how that would work. The only thing I can think of is like the fit has to be perfect because of the way something dislodged.
Yeah.
But like even then, it shouldn't be that precise. It's a USB-C, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, the lady was saying that she was looking at it. It looked like something was a little off, you know. So, but the other guy that was there got it to work. So it was like, oh, there must be no real problem. It might just look like it's like a little like messed up. But no, I can come back to be like, hey, yeah, no, my wires at home, which are stuff I just bought third party, but they should be USB-C, don't work at all. My one in my car, you know, because of gravity, doesn't work very well, so it's not charging all the time. And unless it has a really nice fit, it's not working. And why? I've just noticed now, because normally I have Task Manager open. And I had been just checking something and making sure things were good before I started the stream. And I hadn't, like, minimized it. Microsoft Edge is open. I didn't open that. Maybe when I restarted, they automatically opened it. Die.
I don't know, whatever you did. I'm not jittery right now, which is nice.
I think it was just something that from, like, my previous restart, because I ended up restarting, you know, last night. And there was a couple of updates that I noticed. Like, I had pretty much gotten rid of the new notepad and was just using the old notepad because it was still there. Because I didn't want the new notepad, and they just basically didn't necessarily disable the old notepad. They just put a new one and replaced all aspects of it when you try to search for it, like in the apps with it, with the new one.
Yeah, you can open with another app on the computer and then find that one, yeah.
Yeah.
And then set it for always.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just ended up pinning that one to start, but they ended up I did that earlier, and they replaced it with the new one again, and the new one was back and forth, and I had to get rid of it again. So whatever update they had,
Weird.
they basically were like, have our stuff again. And I'm like, no, I don't want it. I don't want it, Microsoft. Go away. You make terrible decisions.
That is weird. I just noticed that I have Notepad on here. Why
Yeah.
did I do that? Why did I do that?
Maybe you didn't. Maybe it forced its way in.
Like, I also have the Notepad++, which is the other one I use, and it's still default, but...
Yeah. It infests you. The power of Microsoft Notepad and its
I mean, at least they
emotes.
didn't, like, slap Edge on here somewhere.
I really should just... I don't think I guess because I having the option of multiple browsers, I haven't gotten rid of it, but I really should just get rid of Edge. I'm never going to use it.
Honestly, Edge isn't bad. Like,
Well,
people hate it, but it's... I think if it, like, allowed you to search by default in Google instead of Bing, it'd probably be fine.
Again, it's one of those things is I don't necessarily have anything against Edge. Like, I think it was
There
fine.
might be a way to do that. I've just never looked into it.
It's just like most of the other browsers I think are fine. It's just I'm used to Firefox. It's someone I've used for like a long time now, and you know,
To
it
be fair, I
probably
started
would.
using Opera recently,
Yeah,
and it was a pain to get used to.
yeah.
But but it took me like a month, and that was about it.
Yeah, I think it's that thing of like, I'm not in a position where unless it's like so much better, I'd rather like switch on. And as far as I can tell, each has their own good and bad. And I have had no major complaints with Firefox. That's kind of where I'm at with it. So
Yeah, I mean, one thing I kind of dislike about Opera is in there they have like a suggested apps section, and it's obvious to me that, or a suggested websites thing, and it's obvious to me that some of them are just paid promotions, and I'm like, really? You can say don't show me this again, but it seems to work for each individual website, you know? So it's like, yeah, no, I don't want this.
So I guess I'm going back to the store tomorrow to talk to them again and be like, hey, yeah, it sort of works when it fits snug, but for a lot of the just wires I bought, like a replacement one when my one got worn out, doesn't work. Anyway, but we have a bunch of news. Some of it's technically out of PAX Unplugged, only a very little, and we'll kind of talk about my experience with that at the end today for the big culmination for our deeper discussion here, because I did go yesterday. But we'll get into the kind of general news that we have now, and we can start with talking a little bit about Magic Secret Layers and expanding brands, because it's a combination of three things here. We got a new Secret Layer, a new one, an old one coming to retail, which is actually good, and them expanding their license, which is, we'll see how that goes. So for those of you that are Monster Hunter fans, you're getting a Monster Hunter Secret Layer, which I don't think is necessarily bad because it's all reskins. And I can't tell you off the top of my head where they're good and bad off the top of my head for like cards. Just by looking at them, I'm not as familiar with all the different kind of creatures that are here and if they're valuable or not. Like there's a couple of cards that I can tell. Like from the first one, the Hunt one, I know Tooth and Nail used to be pretty good. I don't know if it still is now. But all these I kind of look at and I'm like, I'm fine with. I'm honestly, of all the things, I was always okay with reskins. I'm not going to lie. So, seeing more of them, I'm like, great. And Monster Hunter, I think, is also fine for like Magic for reskin.
Yeah, no, it's a bunch of dragons.
Yeah, it's a bunch of monsters.
No.
It's a bunch of people with just like weapons fighting monsters. I think it's a fine thing that like, I have this awesome Monster Hunter reskin. Again, I think it's just the artificial scarcity is the only thing I hate about it, because we're probably going to have it again.
Young Garuga and Tooth and Nail. Is that just okay?
It's just a actual reprint, and the name works pretty well. So
No, I know. I'm just trying to remember what that thing's called.
oh, the
The
monsters
one with
there.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Crimson Moonlight also isn't the name of that thing. I forget what that thing's called too. Kushala is the name. Yan Garuga and Barbarous Beast. Oh, let's see. The Barbarous Beast is eating Lagiacrus. Cool. Tooth and Nail. I'm trying to remember. Like, okay, hold on. What is that spiky thing called? Now I'm gonna hold on.
It's one of those things. It's like I have very little experience with Monster Hunter, so I could not tell you a lot about it.
I've played a number of them.
Yeah. This Mordor describes everything.
Well, anyway, it's fighting a Rathalos. It looks like a blue Rathalos. I forgot that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's which is a subspecies, Azure Rathalos. That's what it's called. It starts like an S.
Interesting. I can see them also using this to try to get into the Japan market again, because these are going to be actually in Japanese too. I'm looking at it. So what is that? It's technically
Sergius. I think that's what it is.
Okay, Sergius. So
that's what it is.
1, 2, 3.
Sergius.
4 technical bundles, and normally they have 2 versions, the normal and foil, but this will technically be 8 because there's also Japanese normal and foil. So it is a shit ton of bundles that are technically coming out here. So yeah.
While I recognize the armor, they got the Nargacuga stock, or I like the Nargacuga. Nargacuga is one of my favorite Monster Hunter creatures. Yeah, I'm not honestly good enough, know enough about the game to be able to tell you what all the armors are. I do know the Rathalos armor is the Bahirna is the front one in the Bahirna Huntmaster.
Yeah.
And then I got the Lagiacrus, Rathalos. I'm sorry, I do like these games. I need to play them again. It's just there's such a time sink.
Yeah.
Fatalis, that's a really big one. It's like one of those super giant ones. Gigante, yeah, they're pretty. Zenogre's a fun one. I like him. He's a fun guy.
Okay.
Brachydios. Have they done the Brachydios again recently? I feel like they haven't done that one since Monster Hunter 3. Gormagala, they were the main bad guy in Monster Hunter 4, I think.
Okay.
The Nargacuga, and Yakana. I think that's a newer one, so I haven't seen that one before.
Yeah. Again, like, I think overall this is fine. You know, I can't. I will say just on the aesthetic and all that kind of stuff, you know, I think it's fine. But for, like, you know, I guess the entire thing of card value is always an important one to look with, and card use, I definitely would say, like, there'll be people that'll talk about that before this comes out. But, you know, I think on the aesthetic side, I don't mind. You know, Monster Hunter, as much as I'm not a big person for it, it's not really... Again, I think it's that gameplay loop. Always is like, that's not really a gameplay loop for me, you know? And I think that's what's kind of kept me away a lot. But, like, just looking at it, like, the stuff looks cool. Monsters look interesting.
Yeah. Again, it's just so much grinding. They're fun games, but it's a lot of work. It was fun. I was in school, and I had a lot of free time, and there were handheld consoles, and I could play them when I was bored for, like, a few hours.
Yeah.
Like when I was waiting for something at, like, a, you know, or whatever, when I was just out somewhere or on vacation or something. Loved it. But right now, with full-time job, and, you know, I don't have the time for such a grindy game.
It definitely is one of those things, is, like, I'm much more hesitant on doing longer, grindier games unless I really like them. Like, I think that's why, like, I'm really enjoying Silksong, because I really liked Hollow Knight a lot, and I'm enjoying playing through that. But the thing is, I'm probably going to, like...
It's not a grindy game.
It's not a grindy game, but, like, it's a long game, because I'm probably going to pretty much...
Yeah, it is a long game.
I'm going to pretty much 100% it. And then unless I like do a randomizer some like 5 years in the future, I'm probably not going to touch it again, you know, as much as I enjoyed it, you know. It's, or I guess maybe if there's a lot of like extra content that comes out, kind of like the original Hollow Knight, you know, like again in like 5 years, if they've like, we've gotten all the DLCs out, do you want to play through it now? You know, because that's kind of what I waited for like all the various like DLCs and extra content that came out to the original Hollow Knight. I came back to it eventually, but then I didn't 100% it. I just played through to get to the new stuff. So
man, $280 for all of them, man. I was like, man, I wonder what this costs. This might be a fun thing to get, but I'm like, no, not worth it.
A lot. Unless I think it's the thing is, the art is cool and stuff, but it's one of those things is unless you're actually playing Magic, there is a thing of like hard to get into with how much of it like it costs really. You know, I think that's the thing is too. Yep. Like, there are better ways to go about things for collectors, I think, in certain ways. And I think there's where like there's sometimes a disconnect with like the scalpers and stuff too. Like the Final Fantasy, that was the perfect storm. It's probably the only perfect storm we're going to get. There might be a few others out there, but it's going to be so rare. I just don't think it's worth it. Like the Pokemon. Pokemon is another one. It's not coming to Magic unless Wizard shells out something big or comes up with some crazy deal, you know?
Yeah, well, also, technically, Capcom is separate from Nintendo, even though pretty much all Capcom stuff is on Nintendo right now.
I mean, a lot of it does tend to be there. The Resident Evils usually come to, like, Steam first and, like, other consoles.
Yeah. Well, they come to everything at the same time, yeah, generally.
True, yeah. But, so then the other thing is the PlayStation Secret Lairs... Oh, that didn't enter. Are coming to retail. So they will be coming to select stores in an amount. We're not sure the exact amount, they're not saying, but I guess it will be additional printings of this that'll be distributed to, you know, things. Apparently the sets were originally offered up via a pre-order on October 27th. And these will not be the foil versions. The foil versions were the ones you had to get before. Which... This is both good and bad because I don't know how much they're going to send to retail. Is this still going to be a limited amount? Like, every store gets, like, 2? You know, something stupid like that. Because they did this... No, the thing is, they did this with products in the past, and it didn't go well. I'm gonna say, you know...
Really? Like, 2 for a store?
Yes. From the Vaults was a premium series, which I've been talking about on my history show. But in the entire thing is they were supposed to be all foil cards and a set of like reprints that were like, you know, relatively good and relatively good cards. Usually. They gave like 2 to a store. They didn't really support it. They didn't put it out there. And there were people that wanted it, but the prices got marked up immediately for that. They sent
was
so
this
few
also
to stores.
during the time? Was this all during the time where they're like, oh, we're not going to do an ESRP?
This was right before they started doing that. So they still were doing ESRP back during this time. But because there was so limited amounts out there, it ended up getting spiked up in price. So like it was like supposed to be like, I don't know, like $30 or $40. And you'd find them very quickly for like $60, $70 at a store. Because we're like, we have the one. It's the only one. But like, I'm worried about the amount they're sending out to these places. Is it going to be enough? Is it really supporting, you know, because there are mechanically unique cards in here? There's a lot of questions I have that, like, if they're still sending it to stores, that's good. It's more ways for people to get these cards. That's good. But is it going to still be limited? That's what I worry about. Because every time they limit something, it's a lot of FOMO, it's a lot of mess. And
well, yeah, I mean, the whole point is they're selling FOMO, so.
Yeah. But again, they're trying to do more of this. What?
That's the thing where they give like a standard price for something. Am I thinking of something else?
For what? MSRP? MSRP is a standard.
MSRP. Thank you. Thank you. It's MSRP. Yeah. I said ESRP.
Oh,
and that's why I was like, wait a second.
Manufacturer's
Did I get that
retail price. I love you, manufacturer's
Thank
price.
you. I said the wrong
You might
thing,
have been
and then that
thinking
was stuck
because
in my head.
we've been doing a lot of these. These are very video game related. Is it the ESRB or something like that? The rating
Yeah,
system board.
ESRB is the rating system.
And it sounds very close to that. So might have been what you were thinking of, the rating system, because all video games.
I mean, probably.
Yeah, but this will be coming out December.
Entertainment software rating board.
The December 18th will be in stores. So, I mean, if you didn't get it from Wizards, I hope people get it now. I guess also the thing is, going to multiple stores, it will be harder for someone to scalp. Doesn't mean it won't happen, but it might be like, I get to one store and I scalp it, and that's all I'm going to do, unless I'm working with a lot of other people, but aren't they going to want to sell it, and they're going to earn their money, and it's not going to work like that time, you know?
What they really need to do to limit scalping is honestly put these things on Amazon. Because Amazon is because of the way Amazon works, it's like not as easily scalpable.
That's interesting.
Well, it's because like it's not like you can't scalp on Amazon. People do it all the time, but it's kind of just like, if you have it up in multiple places, it means it's harder for, like, if you can buy it from the store or Amazon or let's say another website, then like it makes it harder for one place to be scalped as easily. Because the whole thing about scalping generally is it's like a robot running through and buying things over and over again if there's a limit to carts, or to cart size, or if there's other things like there's. And so if you spread it out, it becomes harder to consolidate. And that's why it's like, why the idea of like doing stuff in stores also helps and stuff, because it's like,
yeah,
well, I know I can reliably get it in a store at the right price.
Yeah, it's you have to worry about physical scalpers, which do exist. We've seen people shoving children for Pokemon cards.
Yep.
But yes, it does require people to actually show up there. Anyway, the last bit of the little bit of Magic stuff is they're expanding their licenses, but this is very interesting because it's in respect to universes beyond, which is a kind of weird point to be into, because like this is something that like it's a big discussion that they kind of talk about in the article here, that Magic adjacent products haven't been a very big thing until like Ultra Pro came in the early 2000s and started getting like an official license and got like, Magic sleeves and Magic like playmats and stuff like that, and all these kind of like side products that do link that Wizards wasn't making. They didn't really have a lot of stuff like that, and there hasn't been a lot of major deals until more recently, with a lot of this kind of stuff more connected, kind of accessories that are also then universes beyond a little bit more, which is, it's an interesting and strange place to be at too, because it's sort of like it is a shared license then too. So yeah. Again, I don't think it's one of those things that I say it's not necessarily bad, but it's kind of like, wouldn't it be better just to do kind of these products? If you're doing these products here, why don't you do these products anyway for some of your other stuff and support that more too? I'm just gonna say.
Well, I think they do, don't they?
Kind of. It's becoming more and more recently. It has been a more recent thing, like in the last couple of years, they really are getting into licensing more items related to their own stuff even too.
Yeah.
Like they're talking about here, like 2004, 2005 is when they're giving like Dragon Shield the ability to like have images of, characters and lands on them. 2004, 2005. That's the last couple of years, You didn't think about doing this a while ago. Nope. Hello.
I think they might have a little bit of like an open thing already anyway, like a bit of an open license for their stuff. Like they tend to not. Wizards of the Coast, thankfully, has never been super strict. I mean, they tried to, and that backfired real hard, but with D&D. But they've never been super strict with like their content. So like the idea of making, you can kind of make and sell things to a degree.
I think there has, yeah, I do agree. I think there has been kind of some things that have sort of been there, but it's like, I think it's what people do is very kind of like, kind of skirts that edge. You know, it's kind of like fan produced things where you're not doing in large numbers or kind of small things like that. It's a lot more custom items more than anything, or stuff that feels very adjacent to it but is generic enough not to be there. It's that kind of skirting a line that a lot of people kind of do, because there is that line that people skirt on.
Yep.
And I think it's just been like actual official stuff has been technically in short supply, because I remember there was a line of like pewter miniatures that were magic related back in the day, and I got a few of them, and I thought of painting those, but I never did because I didn't paint anything ever. And pewter, I learned, sucks to paint even more than, you know, plastic miniatures in certain ways. You have to like have extra coatings and stuff or something like that. It was like a special kind of paint or something you had to do to it. But that was
oh my gosh, I was trying to see if there's any other like kind of things. And outside of more generic things, yeah, it's all Final Fantasy. So that's basically why they're expanding their license. That way they can bank more on the Final Fantasy thing. Guarantee it 100%.
And they've done some stuff.
Like they showed the Spider-Man one, but I see, like, besides the Spider-Man one that they showed on this article, I've seen about 10, like 20 Final Fantasy ones.
Yeah. And it looks like they're trying to do more of that stuff next year, which again, it's not bad, but like, it's just been this like aspect that they could have been doing, and you know, because you're licensing and getting a percentage of profits. Why didn't you just do this earlier? You just would. It's sort of like people would have liked to make products. They could have been successful. They might not have been successful. They probably would have paid you for the license, and then you would have got a percentage of the profits. You know, stuff like that. That's usually in parts of these deals. You could have just been. You could have sat back and let other people do the work, and have a lot of the, like, you know, danger if there's something, you know, if stuff didn't sell.
Here we go. I finally found one that is like generic magic.
Ooh,
A playmat. That's generic magic.
grand.
And it's just basically a wolf pup. But it's technically has like the magic logo on it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think like the kind of side product and supplies that are more like for collectors or for gaming supplies and stuff like that has been kind of lacking in weird ways, but sort of coming into its thing more and more. And, you know,
I see. Okay, no, they have a lot more. Okay, I found a lot more.
Yeah.
It's just like I had to go to. Let me put it. I'm on page. Basically, the first one I saw that was not Final Fantasy was on the last entry on page 2 of this like search of the playmat search that I was looking at on this website.
Yep.
They also have an Oblivion one, which is fun.
Ooh, cool.
Anyway.
But yeah, so again, it's one of those things that I'm like, it's not really bad or good. It's like something that like I was honestly surprised we didn't hear as much from it from Wizards, you know, in a lot of ways. I didn't really think about it much until I was like got to this article. I'm like, yeah, really, you guys just don't do that. Why? you're horrifically money grubbing in so many other areas. This is one of those ones that I'm like,
and there's more Final Fantasy after this. Yay!
It's just like, there's a direction that I'm like, whatever, it's fine to do that. Why haven't you been doing this? You know, where's your money grubbing spirit? Anyway, so yeah, that's all our magic little things. Let's talk D&D briefly though, because hey, first off, we do have a preview of the upcoming Artificer, because the Eberron Forge of the Artificer book is going to be coming out, or material is going to be coming out, and they're showing off in the article here. Is it out now? No, it's on pre-order, I guess, right now. Yeah. 16 more days. That's coming out. It's going to have a rehash of the actual Artificer for 5.5, which is good. Artificer is very popular, and you know, coming back with it and improving it, thumbs up. You know, I can't really like say much other than, hey, you know, maybe you should have done this sooner, but at least you did it. You know?
I mean, they're fine.
Yeah. I liked them, but never really played a lot of them. I think I played one once for like a shorter like adventure. I never really got.
I
back into it.
remember not really liking the concept, and like it's so funny because I love the idea of the inventor in Pathfinder 2e, but the artificer never hit the same in my opinion.
I think what it is I liked the aspects of it that matched a lot with the alchemist from Pathfinder 1e. Because I really, though the alchemist had problems, I liked its style and a lot of its ideas. Like, as much as it could be annoying.
Yeah, that's a subclass, isn't it? Yeah, I remember that one. That was something I've looked at before.
No, it's a full class in 1e. Alchemist.
Oh, Pathfinder 1e.
Yeah, the Pathfinder 1e. Yeah, yeah. Which also I think it is technically, is it? No, it's his own class in 2e too. Yeah, the alchemist.
Yeah, no. I thought you were talking about, sorry, when you said
you were
like
thinking about
the aspect of.
Well,
I thought you were talking about this alchemist subclass for the artificer in 5e.
That was also what I liked and what I tried out. But that was the entire thing. Is that that was the direction I went in because I liked the Pathfinder 1e version of it. Like, yeah, the bombs could be annoying if you're a GM a little bit, but I still liked it. I liked a lot of the flavor of it. It was neat, kind of weird. But yeah, alchemy, the artificer, it's neat. I think we've seen like updates in like more recent time in Ars Arcana and stuff like that too. So it's kind of neat to see where they have a lot of these changes at. So yeah.
Yep.
But,
I mean, from what I remember with the Unearthed Arcana, it was slightly better.
Slightly. But yeah, so yeah, if you want to check that out, I have put the D&D Beyond post that's talking about it. But similarly speaking, we're going to get a bunch of new Forgotten Realms through Ed Greenwood. Ed Greenwood is going to be putting out a 4 Forgotten Realms source books in 2026. So this is an interesting one because it is technically going to be D&D, but is it going to be kind of like with Eberron? Because I know Eberron is in a weird spot because it's published by D&D, but it's also in like a conjunction with its original creator. Like the original creator shares ownership with Eberron with D&D. It's like a joint thing that is kind of like a weird position to be in.
If I recall correctly, they own it and D&D like sub owns it. Like it's actually not.
It's like
the other people.
Yeah, it's like a licensing
I don't
almost.
It's something weird.
Yeah, I remember it was like we looked into it and it was very unusual the way it kind of worked, the Eberron situation. So I'm wondering if they're going to kind of try to make, because Ed Greenwood did a lot of stuff for Forgotten Realms other than R.L. Salvatore and his entire books on Dritz. So I'm wondering if they kind of are trying to like make kind of like deal with him to kind of do it. It's just I don't know, but it's 4 books. Granted, it's focused on the Dale Lands, but you know what the Dale Lands isn't? Sword Coast.
Which is nice.
Yeah. It's only one region, but it's not the Sword Coast. The amount of Sword Coast books that in the last editions have been insane. Like, yes, there was Sword Coast and other things in 3rd edition, but in 4th edition, I think most of the Forgotten Realms stuff was very Sword Coast, and then up until now in 5th edition, it's been a lot of Sword Coast. So it's just nice for us to be outside the Sword Coast for once. Anywhere, to any decent degree. It's an entire actual world.
Yeah. I mean, like that's the thing. Like Pathfinder, like they have a little bit of the same issue, but at least they're taking their time. I wish they would. Like they've kind of been in the same problem area.
Yeah.
But at least they kind of did. They had like, Europe. They had like, instead of having Eastern Europe, which is basically what the Sword Coast is. They had Paizo at least had all of Europe and the top half of Africa. you know,
they had the inner sea world, the inner sea area, which was an interesting area. It's kind of like it's kind of like a Mediterranean area, but it did include a lot of like the in quotation civilized areas of their version of Europe. But they have done a decent job, especially getting into 2nd edition, expanding beyond that. The Impossible Lands book, the Mwangi Expanse book. Certainly speaking, I really love the TNZ World Guide because that gave us an entire other continent to work with.
Yeah, and they did have kind of Molangi Expanse. They just expanded on it, and they still have yet to do the southern half of like Africa, basically.
Yeah,
The other
Grund.
side
I would,
half of
yeah,
Molangi,
it,
other half of Grund.
yeah, it is really like to the middle of the continent they go with information. It's
Yeah.
like, what's in the south? Things. We have like a couple of sentences about what's down there. There's this
Yeah.
nation. What do we know about it? 2 sentences.
Yeah, and then there India, which is starts with V,
Vudra.
right?
Vudra,
Thank you.
Yeah, Vudra.
They have like small bits of Vudra based on because of how it touches into the sea.
And the same with the Capitish, the big, which has like is it technically an empire with like sub countries in it and stuff like that, because I think it's Quadria, which is like a rival of Taldor, is technically Capitish, but Quadria does stuff on its own, kind of, as long as they like give the empire like some money and stuff like that. They're I think it's a satrap they call it, which I'd have to figure out the definition of that. They're supposed to be a little bit more like Middle Eastern coded, you know, because again, it does equate to our world a lot in many ways. That's the thing you have to think about Galarian. It's a little bit more open-ended than, let's say, like they do in Forgotten Realms, because Forgotten Realms, it's just Earth, you know, a lot of ways, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of Earth, but everything's starting from a point you might know and changing to something. It's almost as if you take like a similar culture and evolve it in a different way, which I like a little bit more too. But so I want more books anyway. But again, back to this one. We're getting one every quarter.
Honestly, that's one thing. I really hate how a lot of modern stuff has turned away from lore books and like source books and like or setting books. That's the one I'm looking for.
Yeah.
From settings. Like I feel like there's like almost every good setting right now is third party.
Every good setting is either third party, or it's like if you're doing an RPG, it's based on a world, you know, and that has lore both that they're putting together, but also a lot of lore from other sources. You know, it's like, oh, it's Lord of the Rings, it's Aliens, it's Star Trek. Yes, there are books that have the world, but you can also just go online and check that out. Where these like game systems that have their own worlds, they're not doing it as much. And this is good. But again, is this Ed's making it and Wizards is really publishing it a lot more? You know, I feel like that's probably it is. It's like Ed's putting in a lot of the work for them, you know, to get these books out. But there's a guide to a Dale Inns, insights, which includes like mini games, local holidays, festivals, and regional tournaments. That's a cool book. I'm not gonna lie, that's a really cool book. The insights of the Dale Lands, because that's stuff that you can use to add to a world. That's like stuff you're breathing into, like, you know, like little games you can play and stuff. And then dangerous and legendary sites, and then of course a number of small adventures, which that technically can overlap with like the dangerous and legendary places to check out, but not necessarily, because, you know, there's probably more sites in the region than there are in the adventure anthology. You know, it's like, you can also go over there and check that out. But yeah, no, I cool, great, happy about it. It's a region getting explored, thumbs up. You know, and I'm trying to think about it. I don't think I know a huge amount about the Dale Lands other than they exist in their name. Let me take a look here on a Faerun map. Been a while since I've opened one of these.
Yeah, I'm trying to find my map.
Which one of these is a good one? That's a pretty good one. That's the full map. Thank you, Faerun full map.
There it is.
All right.
Toral.tiff. Well, that's not what it's called. Something Toral something.tiff, but I forgot how long this takes to load.
Yeah. Oh, that map. Yeah.
The one we used for
Mm-hmm.
what was it called? The Records of Evil? No.
Yes, Records of Evil. That is indeed the one we used.
Was that what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay.
Feather, Scardale, and Harrow. Those are the cities I'm looking for. I might have to find a bigger map here. There's Thay. Eastern Seas. Like, I opened up a different map, and this might not be a good one for this year.
Okay.
Try a different map here than I was doing. That's not what I wanted to open up. Here. Let's try the one from D&D Beyond. Are you a good one? It's just because I'm like trying to look at the. No, you know what I can look. Scardale, favorite. Hey, where are you on this map? Hi. Look, I'm just gonna, look you up in the Forgotten Realms wiki, which might be able to give me more. In North Favorite. Okay. Cool. Great. Thank you. I need to know what region it was in. Try this map.
Yeah, we did go to the Dale Lands in the thing, if I recall correctly.
We
kind of like that. If I remember in that game, like that's why I'm like, it rings a bell.
I think it was later on, because again, it's like a northern area of it.
Yeah, it was like we went there briefly to like discuss some things with some elves or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Okay, so it's northern, kind of shortly. It's just below, the Great Dale, I think is where, right? The Dales, yeah. So it's the Great Dale,
okay.
right? At Denderdale. Let's see, is that the Dale Lands? I think I'm in the right spot. Like Ashane. Arrow.
There's the Horde Land, Thar, Tortured Lands. Oh, I can look in the wiki part here. Like, it's sort of like I'm trying to look at the region made of the Dale Lands in North Favorite. Oh, that region there. Okay. Yes. Oh, I found the Dales. It's next to the Sea of Fallen Stars on the in between Netheril and the Sea of Fallen Stars. Okay, cool. So it is very in the middle of the continent. So Sembia is below it and Coromir is below it. So it's pretty close to Coromir too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Shadowdale is in there. That's right. And Myth Tranor's in the Dales. Oh, Myth Tranor. The ancient elven city overrun by demons. Ooh. Yeah. Now I'm remembering the region. It's one of those things that's like, the names come up, but like when you're talking about it, like...
Also, because we went to Coromir in Records of Evil. That's why I think I remember the area.
I think you might have gone to one of the smaller cities along the way or something like that, and I think there was more traveling in the region. I just don't remember all the cities I used during the time period. But again, it's a nice region to explore, because we don't really explore that a lot, ever. It's again, like, it's northern central Faerun when we've just been on the west coast the entire time. So, anyway. But yes, 4 books coming out, all about that era. And I'm going to assume in the Delves of Dale Lands, at very least, they'll probably mention Myth Tranor. Fun one there. I had some adventures in a adventure in the Forgotten Realms that a friend of mine ran many years ago, that we ended up going there. And the funniest thing that happened was one of our characters had like insane stealth, but like then busted with some invisibility. And so while he was trying to explore, it was Joe. He hid because he ran into like this really powerful demon, he hid in its shadow because it had like senses that could have even maybe detected him. But like I think was a shadow dancer, so he had like a shadow buff that he was able to like, because he was hide in plain sight on top of like everything else what he had, which was really funny. So he's just like kind of watching it for a while before he ran away. Anyway, so that's a long story, but that one. Let's continue on. Because we can talk about Daggerheart, and this is an announcement from PAX Unplugged. Technically, it was announced right away on PAX Unplugged. So I think they were showing this stuff off while I was walking the show floor, as it was that early on that they kind of announced it. Because I walked by their booth and saw stuff about their new book, and I'm like, ooh, new book. Little did I know, saying ooh, new book into my brain, it was announced there. That I didn't realize at the time until I actually looked today. But yes, I saw their booth that was there and them showing it off.
Which Warlock, Brawler, and Assassin?
Yeah. So 4 new classes. It's coming out next year, and they're kind of showing off stuff from it. You know, talking about it, showing it off. So this is Hope and Fear, their first big expansion, with a bunch of the different classes.
Yeah, they've released those classes as like separate little like things before, but I guess they're gonna like fully release them now.
I think it was a lot of their like playtest stuff too that they were doing.
Yeah.
Because I think that's one good thing that, you know, they do a bunch of like playtests on stuff, and it's going to show, hey, they finished the playtest, and here it is. And they've got their new Dread domain to go with 2 of them there. So,
What if I want to try Daggerheart at some point? I don't. I'm gonna be honest. Like, part of me is wondering. Okay, actually, I'm curious. Do they say what's gonna be kind of more in here? Like, let's see.
Daggerheart's one that I am interested in basically trying a lot of the 5e successors at this point in time, honestly. Just because, you know,
I'm
seeing what they've done.
I'm hoping for a tactical expansion. I think they kind of need it. Because like I'm fine with it being optional, but like the way it currently is very narrative driven, which is fine and probably better for you know, like the I mean, obviously the people who put it out is the people who made what is it? What
it's kind of like,
what's the name?
I'm going to compare it, that entire narrative thing, it's kind of like, it does remind me of Wednesdays. Sometimes it's very natural that you guys have fights, and we do it. And then there's times you go do stuff that I'm like, unless I like shoehorn a fight in, you're not going to fight anything. you make a lot of choices like that I'm like, I guess I'll just put something in here that there'll be a fight. Narratively, I figured out a way to make it work, you know? Like the T-Rexes were guardians of that place, you know? It was pretty easy. But otherwise, like, it's ruins mysteriously in the middle of nowhere that have been, like, abandoned for billions of years that no one's kind of played around with. Not billions of years, but like thousands of years.
I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure Pathfinder 2e fits your GM style 100%, mainly because you do like kind of a 50... Well, okay, let me rephrase that. Unless you use a lot of their optional narrative content rules and mechanics, I don't think it'll fit your style all that much, because you do like that 50-50 split between like narrative and combat. Well, I'd probably say you're actually more of a 60-40, honestly, where it's 60% kind of narrative or you know, content, and then like 40% combat, whereas Pathfinder is designed to be at the very least 60% combat. Pathfinder 2e.
I have gotten the feeling that, like, I think it's just also the story I'm telling, because, like, I think that's the thing
you
too.
do tell different. You can tell stories with more combat focus. It's just,
like,
yeah.
Because I think, like, a lot of, like, when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, early on, we might have been more on that, like, 60-40, but I think there was, like, this shift once you got to civilization, you know, and it was a shift in the very heavily.
You could have done more combats. Like, there's definitely some urban combat stuff you could have done. But I don't know.
That might have
But
been
like
just
we've
me
done a lot
not
of
seeing an
traveling and
opportunity.
discussion and yeah, that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
so
But again,
I don't know. Maybe it's just picking your. Honestly, this is a good thing that definitely should go on a discussion topic. Actually, like picking your system, because like I don't think every system fits every story. You know, like
Yep.
as much as D&D likes to go, it can be used for anything. It's not designed to be actually.
Yep.
Anyway,
That's a discussion for another. But anyway, yeah, so Daggerheart getting its new expansion, pretty big one coming out next year.
Yeah, they'll have 2 books instead of 1.
Yeah. Ooh. So let's talk about Dungeon Crawler Carl. Woo!
Yeah, I need to read some of the more recent. I don't know if that's done yet. I don't think it is.
Yeah, picking your system is a critical thing that, like, oftentimes is also just really difficult to do sometimes because it's that kind of fine thing about, like...
You also have to know, like, you have to know multiple systems to do it.
You have to know your system. You have to know what you want to do with your system-wise, not just story-wise. And you have to know where the story meets the system. And that thing can always be very difficult. And you don't have to be perfect. Like, I think that's why, like, the Pathfinder 2e game, like, Fall of Abbotsfell, it's not perfect. But I think it's close enough with how I've been doing it. As you said, like, it might want a little bit more. But the 60-40 isn't so far off. I think I can, like, at least for the back end, maybe try to swing it a little bit back towards maybe at least a 50-50. But it'll be kind of like I have a few ideas of what I can do that will logically make sense. Yeah.
I'm not saying you need to. I'm just saying it's been a lot of role play without a lot of combat in a system that has like 90% of what you're supposed to be able to do is combat, you know?
Yeah. I do like I think like the adventuring part where you were like exploring and occasionally running into creatures, that was very much more like akin to what it should have been like very early on, you know. But
yeah,
it has been a shift.
Yeah, and I also think there's a little bit of, you know, you're trying to get a story told, so that's kind of hard. So anyway, but again, we can talk about that during the discussing our weekend gaming.
Yeah. Dungeon Crawler Carl. I think we talked about the RPG because I think it was like on Backer Kit earlier this year or something like that.
It was just announced that it was going to be at some point.
Okay. So now we know it's coming to Backer Kit in April, but it's not the only thing that's coming out next year. So yeah. The RPG will be coming out. We know about that, but they're also going to be doing a solo or 2-player co-op card and crafting deck builder game, which is a weird thing, because yeah, it's a solo deck builder, but also a 2-player deck builder, a co-op deck builder. Normally, deck builders aren't co-op. I'm curious because I guess you're both building a deck together, but going against probably like a dungeon deck, I can almost assume, or something like that. So I can see it working, but I don't think we see that very much, like co-op deck builders. But again, most deck builders against each other. Yeah, it's kind of strange. I really should do some. Yeah, I think you each have a deck. I really should do some like videos on like some systems, like simple guides. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because I think it can be solo. I think it would be like 2 decks versus a GM deck, basically.
Yeah, as far as micro videos go, like literally, I'm planning on podcasts at some point soon.
I've always considered getting some more like system-based videos, at least simple ones, because again, that introducing systems makes it easier than to use them for other stuff in the future. But I did some more in-depth system videos back in the day, but also like doing better versions of those nowadays. Again, it's that, hey, I started making some videos in 2016. They're probably not as good as I could do now. I've thought about rehashing some of those old videos, revisiting them, especially some ones that have a lot of new information. But yeah, I think like the deck builder stands out more for me, but we don't have a huge amount of information of it yet because really the role-playing game is the first one I think that's coming out that we're gonna know more about. Yeah, we're getting 2 of them, which is kind of interesting. So stuff. Yeah, I don't know a lot about it. You'd have to ask Worm who knows more about it, you know.
So Dungeon Crawl Carl, again, it's about a guy who it's basically about an alien civilization who basically caused the apocalypse for humans, basically for the purpose of a TV show, in which they put people into basically a giant basically a RPG like system where like there are different levels, and like if you don't make it to the next level, you die. And you have to find the exits. But the exits are all guarded by big bosses, so you have to kill them. It's a whole thing. It's fun.
How much is there, and how much do you end up either reading or listening to?
Give me 1 second. Let me go get my phone so I can go look at the things.
But it does seem like the RPG is made for one or more players and a game master, you know, the usual.
Yeah, I feel like there are at least 8 books that I but I feel like there's more. Okay, Dungeon Crawler Carl, at least for audiobooks. Obviously, I could look up come on, phone.
The Curse of Unworking Bones.
Yeah, it's just being slow. Okay, so there are currently 8 books. Well, the 8th book is coming soon. I've listened to 5 of them.
Okay. All right.
I own the 6th one. I just haven't listened to it yet. And the 7th one I don't own.
Gotcha.
But yeah. Part of me's like, I usually wait for a few books to come out, and then I listen to the whole series again, starting from the beginning. That's what I tend to do. So it's like, but
it's been a while since I've gotten into a series books. Like I've been like most of the time, the rare times I do like sit down and read a book, it's just been one-offs usually, or rereading something that I'm like, I'm gonna reread that book for whatever reason. I'm inspired to it. So
let's see.
Some interesting stuff for this.
And it's planned. And Dungeon Crawl Carl, just looked it up, is planned to have 10 books.
Okay.
Matt Dinneman is planning to make 10, but it could go up to 12.
It's basically one of those things. Is he has an idea for where the series will go, and whether that's the final or not will be determined by how things go.
Yep,
makes sense.
So. And that's according to the AI overview, which is probably accurate.
It at least gives you enough basic information to start.
Yep.
That's usually what I say about that little AI overview. It's a good place to start out with.
Mm-hmm. I just feel like that should be stipulated. Yeah, so that's just, okay. But that is okay. Looking at some other things, yeah, that is basically what he indicated as his intent.
I'm just funny because in my I can see on OBS it's fine, but on my popped out window of my chat, those emotes that Blaze put in chat didn't work, so they're just like broken words that are just like splattered on my screen. It's really hilarious.
The words should be the like tags. So basically, if you don't have are you talking about like the little thing in OBS?
Oh, see, in OBS, the emotes look fine, right? I can see my window for the stream. But in my popped out window of chat that I have, where I actually read chat on, because I can't read it on OBS very well, because I really need a third monitor, kind of thing,
I should send you a link to the program I use, which literally just puts the chat over your screen.
But so it broke basically, and it's kind of hilarious. Anyway,
yeah, that happens sometimes. It's because there's like a certain thing you kind of have to do to like get emote. Like some things just are weird about it. I've read a thing once. I don't remember any of it. I'm trying to talk about something I do not remember well enough to speak about. So we'll continue.
I find it funny, and it broke, and it's great. It's funny. That's the important thing, I'm just saying. But yeah. So we can definitely expect more of this series in the future, and I guess Whether or not we'll revisit it will determine on what we find out about it. Or maybe they'll do more books.
Oh,
Be cool.
yeah, okay. I actually just found the Reddit page where the author literally said, get 10 give or take. So,
Gotcha. Cool. So that is.
I forget. Was it going to be its own RPG, or is it going to be based off some other system?
Ooh. I know Renegade has its own system because it's the same system they use for both for Transformers, Power Rangers, and GI Joe. They've got like a basic system. I don't know a lot about it because I've only looked into it briefly, but I know it's the same basic system they use between all three of them. It's just again very much so different between them after the the Code of Paint. I don't know if they're using that because again then they also work on the vampire and werewolf books, which the World of Darkness 5e is just basically based on the original D10 system from World of Darkness anyway. It's an updated version of that. So I don't know on that end. They don't really say here, and they might have said earlier in the things, so I don't know. That's a good question that I unfortunately don't have an answer to. Okay.
Also, I love the whole thing about him being in his boxers, because literally the reason he's in his boxers for every thing is because he basically entered the tournament in the middle of the night, like he was sleeping, and he went to get his cat, and that's when it opened. That's when like the whole thing happened, and then he got in there, and then he never changed because of a whole thing about popularity and people liked his look. And then, so if he ever changed it, it could cause problems for his ratings, which are very important because it's a whole game show thing.
Yeah. So it's like, I would like to put on pants, but I'm apparently not allowed to.
He literally got a thing that was all like, a super amazing buff as long as you aren't wearing pants. And he's all like, they just don't want me wearing pants. Got it. Because like it's kind of got a Hunger Games thing too, where like you can get gifts.
Yeah.
In a way. That's why popularity is important. And so it's just like he basically got this thing. It's all like, as long as you're not wearing pants.
That's silly. I like it though.
I think those were the knee pads actually. So it's like the knee pads do something in the land. I don't remember though. I'd have to listen to it again. It's been a little while since I read them.
I think we've heard about this and talked about it a little bit, but we know that Mutants and Masterminds is getting a 4th edition, and we have a proper date, kind of, for the Kickstarter coming up, and a little bit more information about it. So Mutants and Mastermind is pretty much, I think, because the other, like, if you talked about a decade ago, I would have called there was 2 de facto big superhero RPGs a decade or so ago. Now there really is one. Mutants and Masterminds kind of the king of superhero TTRPGs at this point in time, because like back in the like a decade, 15 years ago, I would have called Aberrant as a big one too. Aberrant's still around, but since the Trinity system's kind of been taken over by Onyx Path, and they still do stuff on it, and White Wolf completely abandoned it. It's there, but really now the Trinity system is all of it, when it was just the original. I'll just say the original Trinity system were 3 different games that were very much so structured a little bit like the World of Darkness is, where the games are very similar but different still. Like Vampire and Werewolf are still 2 different games. They're kind of very similar systems. They can kind of be layered. You could play them together, but they're not 100% compatible unless you do some work. Because Werewolf's going to murder the shit out of a vampire unless you make them an elder. A basic werewolf will always murder a basic vampire. Unless you also give them, like, high-powered rocket launcher or something like that. I don't know. Something crazy.
I think that's why I like Chronicles of Darkness, because that's actually not true. Chronicles.
They make them all a little bit more balanced to begin with.
Yes, you can actually play a campaign with different splats, and it works.
I think that was something that they worked on when they got into the Chronicles.
With the exception of Mage. Mage is, from what I hear, still broken as heck.
I understand why. Because a mage is squishy as all heck, even in World of Darkness. But it could do something crazy. It just has to roll well. If that mage does something crazy, rolls well, it's going to do something. It's,
Yep.
Yeah. Werewolves aren't always good trackers. it depends on the type of werewolf too. Just like vampires have different abilities too. Some are much more social, some are much more physical.
Yeah, I think they do get like a small boost to tracking in the wolf form. Like they count as like they get like, oh gosh, what is it like in Chronicles at least? Again, that's I'm most familiar with Chronicles.
Yeah, I think it is the same.
It's
in
like the
normal World of Darkness. It's like heightened senses of a wolf. You know.
Yeah. So it's like in the wolf form, usually the pure wolf form, you do get like a boost.
It's good, but again, like it's as much as
I think it was,
dog.
I think it was an exceptional on 3 dice instead of 5. So if you get 3 successes instead of 5 in Chronicles,
it's not necessarily like.
So it's like if you're still bad at it, you're still bad at it, but you can succeed a lot better with a lot less.
Yeah. And, you just naturally have better senses. If you don't train that, it doesn't matter, Just because you're really great at something doesn't mean you're really great at using it. So I think that's kind of where it comes in. But yeah. I like Mutants and Mastermind. I have
actually I just want to make a point. If you've ever seen a dog like try and find something, like try and sniff out something and it just can't find it, yeah, it's not always the case.
Yes.
Dogs do need to actually train to be tracking dogs.
Yep. A lot of those really good tracking dogs that we train them to be very good at it. They have that natural start, but they need something more,
Hmm?
Anyway. Yeah, I think it might have been 3rd edition I tried. Yes, it was 3rd edition because it was probably around like 2012, 2013. I did a little bit of adventures in the 3rd edition. I did like a small mini campaign. And it is a D20 system. And it's made to just be a D20 system is the other thing about it too. I like it. It's fun. Superhero adventures can be fun.
There is a 2021 version of Eberron.
Yes, I do know that they came out with it during Trinity, but it's one of those things. Is I feel like it's still a good system,
Yeah,
but
Onyx Path made it.
It doesn't compete the same way it used to, because like Mutants and Mastermind kept getting support, kind of, where there was like you have to think about Aberrant. Kind of, it had some support, and then it didn't for a lot of years until Onyx Path resurrected the entire Trinity system from the grave, basically. So, and now there are more superhero TTRPGs out there. It's just that, like, if we're talking about like the box standard, if you want to just the first thing you would suggest for like again, like if I want to do a fantasy RPG, you're probably going to suggest, okay, do you want to do D&D? That's the first place to start. And then after that, maybe then you move into, Daggerheart, or you move into Pathfinder or something like that, afterwards. Where, if you want to do a superhero TTRPG, you start with Mutants and Mastermind and then move off from that,
Yep.
It's that kind of way of thinking about it. So,
yep.
And the new edition can be good. It has been a while since the 3rd edition came out, well over a decade. So, looking forward to it. And again, it's one that I enjoyed last time I played it, which has been a while, but it was good. So, cool. Coming out in January for the Kickstarter. All right. So, I think we talked about the Discworld RPG coming with Modiphius, but it looks like they're going to be doing some more support for the RPG and also coming out with a board game that they've talked about. Modiphius is doing a bunch of stuff with the product line too. I think we talked about the Discworld when it was in GameFound. So physically, it's going to be printed next year, more than just the Kickstarter, like giving it to people. So we know that's coming out. And it looks like they are talking about doing a little bit more books related to it afterwards. So because the Kickstarter was successful enough, the new expansion they're planning is Discworld Adventures in Lance and Umbra Vault, it looks like. So yeah, I mean, that's cool. Discworld is a fairly popular series. I know of it more by name. I think Joe read a bunch of it, stuff like that.
I really should add it to my wish list.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of like books in the series and stuff like that, I think. I can't remember.
I know.
Me remembering stuff exactly. So yeah. They'll probably again. They're gonna say, because Modifius does this a lot, they'll probably launch a bunch of these things on crowdfunding too. But usually they have a pretty good turnaround. I think, we'll again just see more Discord related stuff. That's cool. I'm glad it was very successful, and and so it's kind of like I say, I like Modifius because usually then they put out these very much so. If there seems to be enough support for the niche or one-off TTRPGs, even, they will give some more support for it, as long as it seems like there is a support for it, enough of a support, and it, they use a lot of, honestly, it's the entire thing of, hey, we're going to put it up on, crowdfunding because that's a good way of judging, are you guys still wanting this stuff? Yeah.
Well, it's also a good way. It's also a good way to just get some pre-funding, so it's like we know how far we can go with it.
Yeah. Again,
in fact, I feel like D&D probably would do a lot better if they actually crowdfunded stuff. Because they might actually get some input on how their stuff goes.
It's one of the two directions I like when it comes to crowdfunding. I like the idea sometimes crowdfunding is very good for, this product that wouldn't be made at all unless I crowdfund it. But I don't mind this new one that's come out, again, with a lot of Modifius does it, Steve Jackson Games does, a lot of people do it where it's like, hey, we want to get some pre-funding for this. It's getting an idea of how popular it's going to be. It's how much we want to kind of dive into it. We assume we're going to crowdfund it. We just want to see how much we get, kind of thing like that too.
Yeah.
And yeah. And, sometimes you get the little bonuses or stuff like that, or you get the full book, a little cheaper because you're getting it as part of the crowdfunding than you would have for the full sale, things like that, So it's cool. Yeah. Discworld, another one of those art book series that's got a lot of popularity, Valid Age, and let me just see if we can see the board game. Do we know a lot about it? Discworld Reader's Digest. Oh. Okay, so it's going to be a licensed edition of the game Blue Moon City. Okay, I don't know a lot about Blue Moon City, but it's supposed to be kind of like a Discworld version of it with added and expanded content that probably is much more Discworld focused. So they're taking they've licensed a pre-existed board game, which they might have already had some hand in printing. And put it out there. Let me see Blue Moon City, because that's from 2006 originally. Los Cosmos, come on. Did a lot of stuff with it. Oh, you know what? They might have been able to get it because Come On sold a lot of their licenses, if we recall, with everything that happened this year, I believe. So that might make sense that, maybe Modifius ended up with this, or was connected with someone that ended up with it, and that person might not necessarily want to reprint another copy of Blue Moon City, but licensing the mechanics and the basic structure of it for something like that, especially if it fits with that. Maybe. Yeah. So cool. There's our little walk along the world of Discworld there. Okay. Roll20 continues to improve itself, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to argue with that.
Yeah.
So apparently they're adding pin mechanics to GMs and gameplay. That sounds like not a lot, but it technically is if you kind of think about it. It is kind of its early access.
Yes, I actually did see this.
It's interactive markers, notes, hidden information. Basically, you could make the pins visible, kind of edit kind of around. It's if you need to mark stuff outside of your notes and want it in your map you're manipulating or in the place where the players are, you can do that and put that stuff for you. So you have those little bits of information there. Like, I could have a pin on an NPC, that's his name. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but also means I don't go looking up in my notes what that guy's name is. Sometimes that helps a lot.
It's another way to access information, which is nice.
Yeah.
Is
it something major? No. Is it good? Yes. I think it's good. You don't need to use it, but I think it's a good thing to have to be able to use it. So,
Yeah, and you can do it so it can share with players. I think that what also is really nice is like players can be like remind themselves about what something is. Be like, okay, wait, what was this thing again? Oh, okay, that's what it was.
yeah, like
You know, and they don't have to ask you like, where was this place?
There, like some of these images here are showing like city maps that have like pins on them that are like or area maps where it's like, you know, if someone's exploring it, a player could click on it and be like, oh, that's the building that's there that I want to go to, or something like that. You know, you can see where like things are or what buildings are there, so that like I can say it once and maybe you make notes, but you don't like. We all make different levels of notes on our games, and sometimes we're very good at it, sometimes we're less successful on them, and that this helps in case. So yeah, and again, it could be just secret. It could be anything. It could be stuff for players. It could just be little like notes that you know you can reveal when players learn it or something. You know.
Yeah, I still want them to make like a sheet builder.
We can only ask for so much
like,
sometimes.
Because I feel like if they like make like they're gonna have a separate like app to make a sheet builder that will then maybe export the code that you can then put in. But like to have something like that, I think would like make them be able to update their legacy content a lot better. Because like, yeah. Anyway, there's just a thought.
I agree. It's a. Those are good ideas that they should do. But again, they are working on stuff to improve it, and I am happy about that because Roll20, as much as it was kind of that box standard of TTRPGs, it was the box standard of TTRPGs for a long time, so they didn't do a lot to upgrade or improve it, and they really, as we've talked about,
they got super complacent for a period.
Yeah. So seeing them actually do that, thumbs up. So hey, we've talked about it a few times, but I'm still wondering if we're going to get new books, because this is the second time that Asmodee has done new printings of the Star Wars from Edge / originally I think it was Fantasy Flight, and then Edge got it, the Star Wars RPG, the Age of Rebellion, Age of Empire. They don't have any of those in here. Let me see. In the books they published a couple of years ago, they reprinted too. I think when they first got the ability to, they did the Force and Destiny back in 2022. When they first got a hold of being able to reprint them, I guess, after all the
yeah, they as far as I'm aware, they have not reprinted them yet. I remember looking last time this came up.
Well, apparently they did reprint a batch back in November of 2022. We're supposed to reprint the 11 like core books.
Well, I should clarify, like basically like a year and a half, 2 years ago, when like the whole breakup happened.
Yeah.
Star Wars went completely out of print, and you can't get them anymore. Because of all they've been stuck in limbo. So I'm saying like the past like 2 years, you haven't been able to get these books.
Yeah. And especially like that printing there probably got a lot of like extra books out there. There's all of these 12 books that haven't been out here. And I'm going to tell you, like, I mean, like the Gadget and Gears book, I got to be honest, that feels something that's pretty up there on importance for Star Wars, with a lot of weird technology and stuff.
Yeah, let me explain. You could still get some of them.
Yeah, I think like the core books were kind of around a little bit.
No. Those are the ones you couldn't get because they were all sold out and they weren't being printed.
Ooh.
So like, but some of the less important books you could still get because they were still being sold. So it's not like they would ever stop being sold. It's just they stopped being printed when the breakup happened, the Asmodee breakup.
Yeah. Again, I'm glad that we're getting a lot of reprints that are coming out there for that Star Wars system. I think we've talked about it. I liked the Star Wars system. It had some complexity to it, but it wasn't bad. Like the entire like Force dice kind of thing and like light and dark side stuff was kind of neat.
I read that Star Wars has one of the better ship combat systems out there.
That's the thing is, I never read up on that, and I never saw anybody use that, so I don't even know. But if it does,
that's why I've wanted it, because I've been looking like, so ever since I started, if you remember, ever since I ran that Traveler game and stuff, I've been looking into like the best ship combat systems to like adapt things for, because I'm gonna be honest, most of them suck.
I can see that, unfortunately.
And honestly, it's a hard task because you're basically having to get a group of people to cooperate into one, into like a unit task. Like, I'm gonna be honest, most players love to just do their own thing and make an effect work. It's very rare that you find players who actually like to collaborate. As dumb as it sounds, that's kind of the truth. In 9 times out of 10, when you get something like a ship combat, it's usually one person doing all of the work.
Yeah, I think it requires certain systems or certain settings to make it work for more groups. Like, I'll say, like, I'm pretty sure if I said, like, the Star Trek system probably works a little better for, like, a group of people and stuff like too, because there is a lot of moving parts that could be done with multiple players in Star Trek, you know. During, like, a combat
Star Trek
scenario.
doesn't actually have a ship combat system. They just have, from what I'm aware, it's just the narrative side of things where it's all like, fire, you know, like they have some rules for it, but like,
It's like,
yeah, so
it's a ship combat in name more than action. Like, your players are doing stuff on the ship that has the ship do stuff, but it's really your players acting. Like, someone's at security firing weapons. The captains were like, one of the commanders maybe like helping out with something. Maybe someone's on sensor, someone's on the comm. There's some injury, so someone's in medbay helping out. Someone's in engineering, helping that, you know.
Yeah, there's also the aspect of in Star Trek, you're actually expected to play officers. The issue with a lot of other things is that, like, you get, you know, like, let's say a player is, you know, the Marine, and they like in Traveler, and they have guns, not heavy gun, or not vehicle guns, because those are like two different things. So it's like you actually have to spec into that, which is interesting. But, you know, and then like computers does help, but, you know, because that's more universal. But then you've also got other things. So it's kind of, and then there's like navigation and, you know, ship engineer versus normal engineer or versus mechanics. You know, so it's like there's so many different ways to go about it, and you almost need someone who specializes in them. And if someone just doesn't, it's not like you can't run a ship combat. It's just, you know, you kind of go like, okay, well, you have nothing to do because you didn't put any points into any ship stuff. You know?
Yeah. It's certain thing that, like, it's very easy to have a problem with that. And I think that's why, like, I haven't checked out Starfinder Second Edition's ship combat, because I know Starfinder First Edition.
They have not released it yet. And Starfinder First Edition actually had one of the better ones as well.
That's what I'm thinking about. I'm like, I'm hoping they've managed to recapture that kind of magic in Second Edition.
It's gonna be, they did say it's gonna be one of their earlier expansions for it, and like their technology and stuff expansion. They're gonna do a separate book for that.
I mean, it actually makes sense in a little ways, because though Starfinder deals a lot of ship stuff, like, I gotta be honest, it is just, you know, Pathfinder adventures in a sci-fi setting on like a space station or on a planet, or, you know, on a starship as doing stuff on that starship, you know.
In the DMG, they did add cinematic ship battles, so they're basically more like challenges than they are combat encounter.
They're like, hey, we're gonna add like the full thing in a little while. Just deal with this for now.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So.
Their second edition one doesn't exist right now.
Gotcha.
Yep. No, let me put it this way. This is something I have looked into a lot of, so I feel like I could definitely do. This is another discussion topic idea. Ship combat.
Ship combat is a mess in anything you do it in, but it so oftentimes comes up in places where you kind of need some kind of version of it, unfortunately.
You do need something, and that's kind of the thing, is why I've looked into like what's the best one. I've found ones that are really cool and could allow players to do a lot, but they tend to be highly complicated, meaning you have to teach players them, you know? And that's why I wanted to look at Star Wars, because I'm like, will it be that middle ground? I don't know. I've been looking for it.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep an eye out on this, and hey, I keep saying, I like these reprints. I think the system deserves some more love. Like, they did a lot of books back in their first run, and we can see that here by, that's like what between the initial kind of like batch they had before everything went to crap and this batch here, that's 23 different books. Are they all different? Let me just see the original list from 2022. Yeah, it's like core handbook, special modifications, no discharges. Yeah, it does look to be a separate list of books. So yeah. So they did a decent number of books. I'm glad they're getting more of them. Maybe we'll get more. We'll see. But yeah, so that's that. And our final of our normal topics is oh no, there's two more. Sorry, I forgot this one. Can I accidentally close this? So we're getting an interesting new distributor. I managed to close this earlier, unfortunately, so I've got to find this page again. I didn't realize I accidentally closed my tab for this one. But basically, there's a new person on the market for being a distributor. Here we go. I found that one here. Crown Studios, who had been working on helping with publishing and stuff like that, has basically picked up some slack where the death of Diamond has occurred to take their place in a lot of ways. So yeah, they've moved into a little bit more of comic and game. They were doing stuff for comic and game publishers, and had been working with Diamond before, but they've also kind of hired on someone that was working on Diamond. But I will tell you, he got laid off last year from Diamond, like last summer, not this. Let me check the year just to make sure from the article here. Yeah, this last summer, they laid off a whole bunch of different people on their restructurings and got rid of a bunch of persons. This is someone that was working there. And again, I'm not going to say not everybody at Diamond was probably bad. They were doing their job, but there was a lot of problems with books and probably mismanagement and stuff like that, and kind of things like that made things go bad at things like that. So, at least
most of the problems with Diamond were on the corporate end rather than the practical end.
Yeah. So again, this is someone that's joining as a director of sales to work on things, overseeing a lot of the relations and strategies when it comes to this. And it looks as they're planning on serving the U.S. and U.K. as still doing what they've been doing. But also doing a little bit more distribution stuff too. Publishers retaining control of their audience, catalog, and terms. So yeah, so that does also sound a little like they're also putting in a little bit more to the deals than, let's say, Diamond did when it came to hey, we're not gonna if something goes wrong, we're not gonna steal all your stuff. So. Mm-hmm. They've been kind of manufacturer, crowdfunding, fulfillment, e-commerce.
They set the bar so high, didn't they? Jeez, they won't steal your stuff if they go under.
I know. The bar is so high. Thanks, Diamond. Thanks for you just kept pushing the bar lower, lower, and lower. Just yep. Mm-hmm. Thank you for lowering the bar to. The ground floor. So cool. Yeah, no. It does mean if you want to get into various things with small publishing and stuff, there is at least somebody out there that has some kind of a little bit of name recognition and skill beyond the flailing corpse of Diamond, which is good. And it will hopefully breed more groups like this, which will do things. Hey, competition. It's technically a good thing. Anyway, finally, that's the last one there. We're getting a Legends of the Five Ring book from Edge Studios. I think we talked about a different one earlier, but this one is going to be an interesting one here because it is Emerald Empire. And it's about people and places in Rokugan. It's a setting book. We were just talking about setting books, and we're getting a Legend of the Five Ring setting book. With culture.
No, I feel like there are a lot of medium tier companies are putting effort into setting books. I feel like the big ones like D&D.
I will tell you, the only big book that really focuses on it, I think, is Paizo. It's not that we don't get stuff from some of these, even it's one of those things I do have complaints about, like, well, Modern World of Darkness is a weird way for setting. That's a weird thing. That's an entirely different discussion. But let's say take like Shadowrun.
Shadowrun. I was trying to search for that word.
They do little bits of setting here and there, but they haven't done a real setting book in editions. Like, I think the last really good setting book was like 4th edition, and they're in 6th. Like, every time I'm trying to reach, like, because I've been doing a lot of those videos based on different areas there have been no books from 5th or 6th edition. They've been all mechanical, or maybe like a single city, where it is a gigantic world with a lot of things that have happened to a lot of cultures that is very complex. The Shadowrun world, if you were to look into it, is really interesting, and they touch on, like, we're back in Seattle again. But it's the same kind of thing with D&D. It's like, back to the Sword Coast again. We can visit it for the 97th time.
And as we said, there's some other ones, like Call of Cthulhu doesn't really need setting books. It's supposed to be,
Yeah. They do some kind of, like...
Some of the more popular ones are.
They kind of do some pseudo settings of just, like, this is what's going on in the US, or this is what's going on in, like, this area kind of thing.
Yeah, well, some of them actually do, Calcium does do, like, has put out, like, time period books. So it's all like, do you want to do Call of Cthulhu in this time period? Do you want to do Call of Cthulhu in this time period? And they did have one that was, like, the setting of, like, fantasy or whatever, but it was only, like, a partial one. It wasn't, like, super amazing.
Yeah.
Not fantasy. What is that place called? There's a thing in that some people visit in I'm not finding words today.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what you're saying, and it's like, it's not coming to my brain.
It's like Elysium or something like that. Or...
Yeah. I think I know what you're saying, but I'm not remembering it either. Because, memory. Memory. I have that. Anyway. But no, I think, a good setting book with a lot of basic information is very good. Because, again, at least, very least in Legend of the Five Rings, it's a world that's established, so it makes sense, logically to have it anyway. But, like, I think all game systems need at least some kind of setting book. I'm not gonna lie. You should at least have a generic setting. Even if you don't dive too deep into it, just have something, because we don't always have time to, like, world craft an exact world and put together, like, an entire planet with all of its cultures. Sometimes we can do a part of that. Sometimes we can't do any of that.
Apparently it is just called the Dreamlands. I was specifically thinking of Kadath.
Oh, okay, yeah. I remember the Dreamlands War. Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as you said it, it came to my brain. There's the name of it.
Anyway, so I think they do have like a setting book for that, but
I don't know. They do have Kitsune. It's yes. At least now they do. Legend of the Five Rings.
I thought that was a strictly kind of like humans book. Interesting.
Oh, system with a really good setting book, like a separate one. I would say it's kind of a juxtaposition. As I said, if it's like an existing property that has a TTRPG, that's a pretty good one. You kind of can say that, because again, either there's information that already exists, or you can look up stuff to go off of it. Like the Star Trek books are pretty good, but usually, like, you also want to dive deeper, and there's stuff for them. But, like, just on its own, I'd say if you're going to play in TNZ for Pathfinder, I think that's one of those books that I think is a good box standard of really good setting books, the TNZ World Guide. Do you think that's a good one to say, Worm?
Yeah, I think they did a good job with that setting book, because they also have like little tidbits on things like trade and stuff. Like if you're looking for like a good setting, I think they did a pretty good job with that book from what I read.
As someone that's kind of dove deep into it, it does a really good job of establishing the entire continent and like the cultures and how they interact in a lot of ways, and kind of like the mindsets of a lot of the different people there. And again, it's in a setting book, you're never going to get everything unless you get like a book to a country, that'll really give you, but giving you enough that you can work with it, or like if you need to like go into like a city or something like that, a big city or something, they give you the really good stuff of it. And I think that's like a good example of a really good setting book, but there probably are like a lot of them. Like I'm going to tell you, like if you want to play in Shadowrun, go back to 4th edition and pick up the Six World Almanac. The Six World Almanac is awesome. It is from 4th edition, and we're in 6th edition now, but it's a really great book that established a lot of really great information of what's going on in the world, a lot of major countries. Similar with like World of Darkness, I have mixed givings on like the current World of Darkness, I'm going to say, but overall, they usually have traditionally done pretty good job of doing really good establishment on stuff for like world stuff. It's just, depending on what edition you're looking at, it could be better written or not. The 20th anniversary series of stuff was pretty good. Some 5e stuff I like better than others. 5e is just a really big mixed bag for my opinions there too. And then I'm trying to think of any other than like saying like, the Alien RPG is really cool. Lord of the Rings really, it got really good bits of information. Star Trek, Star Wars, these ones that are established worlds are a lot easier to talk about because either A, you're coming in knowing about those worlds, or can look that stuff up as an extra.
I feel like Chaosium does put a decent amount of effort into setting books.
Yeah,
because their system is pretty straightforward overall and doesn't vary a lot. So they do a lot of their books are setting.
I think I'd agree with that one. Chaosium does a pretty good job.
Yeah. Like RuneQuest specifically, like apparently there's has a lot of setting books.
And Dragon's supposed to have some good stuff in there for setting too. But I haven't. Again, that's one of those systems. I haven't dove very deep into all the Chaosium systems to know exactly how good or bad it is.
Yeah, I mean the stuff they're doing with their basic role playing is its own thing, but yeah, RuneQuest has their like core world of Glorantha. No, Glorantha. Okay,
that's a name.
Yep, that's their That's their like core world that they use. Oh yeah, Rifts. Oh my gosh, that thing is insane. So I'm looking at like I just found a Reddit post where people talking about this and looking through what they're saying. Rifts is insane.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of any like other systems that I can really point out and say like it has a very good setting. That's like off the top that they have stuff to support it.
Oh my god, this actually person probably did sum it up pretty good. Rifts is one of the best sci-fi settings with one of the worst systems.
I'm going to say, if you're going outside of more modern, there are some really well established things in more classic RPGs and stuff too. Like as I was talking about the Shadowrun one, I gotta be honest, like old Ravenloft, old Dark Sun, they have a lot of really great books that establish a lot of really good stuff in those settings.
I do gotta say, playing in 2E games and having to get some of the books to like get certain stuff, man, do they have a lot of good settings. They put a lot of work into their settings early on.
As much as there was there definitely is like ups and downs for playing those older systems. At the very least, if you want to like use those worlds, there's some really great stuff, and it's one of those things they've kind of squandered in 5e a lot.
Yeah, that's the thing. They don't have to put a lot of work into updating these. That's why it's so annoying that they haven't done it.
It's sort of like they did a half-assed job that was kind of okay with the Ravenloft book, but like a lot of them are just like, why was this completely rewritten this way? Why is this different? It's like when sometimes I'll read between like two versions of the characters and I'm like, this is night and day. These are completely different and they're telling different stories. And I'm like, it's fine, but why are they the same character when they're different completely like feelings? They're like, this is one type of horror, this is another type of horror completely. It's not the same. It's like, why? Mm-hmm. Make a new character on your own. They did some of that. Why not just do more of it instead of like shoehorning something on top of it? It's like this Spelljammer 5e. It's a cone of paint that's just using the name. And I don't like when they do that. Just do something original. If they had called it something other than Spelljammer and just said it was Sailing the Astral Sea, I wouldn't have had a problem with it. I gotta be honest.
Yep. Yeah.
And,
Numenera is also considered kind of good according to some people on Reddit.
I've heard okay things about Numenera, but I haven't dove into enough to know for sure.
I haven't either. I have like 2 books of it.
Yeah.
Core rulebook and like 1 other book that I specifically got because supposedly it had a decent what is it, dungeon maker rules.
Yeah. It's kind of like trying to like dive into like Mystara, where we come from in Joe's Sunday game. Mystara's got a lot of really interesting lore, but it's a hot mess trying to figure that out. That's kind of one of those other things too, is just because it's got a cool system doesn't mean it's great unless they have a lot of those big books. That's why I kind of say like Pathfinder has a couple of really good books, but a lot of the time it's also kind of a hot mess of books, you know. And a hot mess, it can establish a good system. It just is like when you need like 5 books to figure out what the hell's going on, it's not good. Sometimes that happens. More modern, they've been trying to get away from that 5 books problem. That's a lot of more the first edition problem. But that can also be a problem with a lot of like that AD&D book. Yeah, Ravenloft's really cool. You might have to reference a couple different books. Unfortunately. Not always, but sometimes. But anyway, so there's our Lord of the Rings, or not Lord of the Rings, because Lord of the Rings is LOTR, and this is LOT5R. It gets me every goddamn time. Legend of the Five Rings. Every time I see your abbreviation.
Yeah, LOTFR.
Yeah.
Versus LOTR.
Well, they put a 5 in there when you see the abbreviation. So it is.
I know, but
so really should have the F though. Anyway, all right, okay, cool. So, I wasn't gonna have a big, deeper discussion topic today, but I was gonna have a little one where I kind of was gonna share a little bit of stuff that I picked up from PAX Unplugged and just go over a little bit of what I saw and see what people had for opinions on it and kind of stuff like that. Share a little bit here.
Ready for the slideshow? Let's go.
Slideshow's gonna be Tuesday. I'll put together the slideshow. Well, hopefully, actually, I'm gonna say hopefully because I need my phone to connect to my computer for that to happen, and it doesn't yet.
Yeah, that might be a problem.
Yeah. There were some cool things I did check out. I did have a chance to take a look at the Godzilla TTRPG. I think we talked about that. They have a little booklet where I put to the side somewhere around here that has some basic information about it. I picked up a little booklet about it. That this is actually like not even like a quick start. It is like a basic how to play example character sheet thing. So it's sort of like if you wanted to test out some things on it, you could with this little thing. But it's like this is the kind of thing that I'm like, you're using this to kind of wet your whistle. This isn't a good like true example of the game. It's fine. But it's like kind of like you say with like quick starts that aren't good. This is kind of like on that borderline, I'm going to say, from what I've seen of it.
I mean, I just don't think quick starts can be good because inherently the idea of trying to give you something that will give you enough to play it without giving you everything that you need, thus trying to get you to buy, because the whole idea is it's almost like to wet your whistle to get you to buy the book, you know, where it's like, so, but they do that with rules, which is never going to work.
So
it's like, let me give you half the rules.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I have a problem.
So the basic way, it is a playing card system. I did learn how to basics to play it. And it's a very interesting system because it's no dice, just playing cards. So the idea is you will have stats, numbers, and if you have to make a check based on that stat, you draw a card from the deck, and that is your bonus. But you will also have a hand of cards, which I don't know, I missed when that refreshes. So it could be possible that, like, let's say I drew a 2, and maybe I need something. It's the Godzilla RPG.
Ah, right, that one, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a full playing card one. You could play a card from your hand to give you that bonus. Maybe you have a 5 in your hand, and maybe the 2 you draw plus the 5 in your hand would be enough with your basic score to pass that check. You know? So it's very interesting that way, that you kind of have a hand of cards it might be refreshed per scene or something like that. Let me just check what it says here at the top of my head. And I'm not going to go too deep into it here because it's very simple, the rules here. But that was the kind of the talking to person there about it a little bit and learning about it. Yeah. Oh, there's my content creator badge. Look at that. I got it. Yeah, it was very nice. I used it for a day. And there's the book. I ended up reading this book through to page. You know why? Because I had to goddamn charge my phone, and if I was using it, it wasn't going to charge. Anyway. Let me see if there's... I actually saw this year, I think, representations from every big publisher. And it was very interesting that I hadn't seen someone from Steve Jackson Games, but I saw on their website basically someone that's connected with them. Like one of their workers also has their own company, like someone that does some work for them, and they basically were at their booth. So that's why I missed that they were there directly, because it's like when you see the primary booth, and I didn't notice that it was also Steve Jackson Games, because it was less advertised. That was the only one that I thought I missed there. Asmodee had a big thing. Of course, Games Workshop always has a huge thing there with their huge Space Marine statue that they bring out every time. Wizards had a pretty good presence. They were showing off. They had not only were they at their tournaments, they had a specific section that you could do some stuff with. I would have had to sign up for it, which I didn't have necessarily time with, especially because by now I knew my phone was on Lifeline for charge. They you could more preview the avatar cards and stuff like that for Magic. So they really had a Magic the Gathering presence. But Lorcana was there. The League of Legends card game, I saw a thing for them. Surprisingly, the Cookie Run Kingdom one had a pretty interesting booth. That's the thing about it is I saw the booth and I'm like, that's a lot more interesting than a Cookie Run Kingdom TCG should be, but that's it stood out, in my brain for having a decent setup, So a lot of TCGs had Flesh and Blood had a huge kind of thing of show there too. So a lot of TCGs this year, and One Piece also had a big thing there too. So all the big players had a presence there for TCGs. It was pretty impressive there. Paizo was there a little bit. They were showing off stuff. A lot of what Paizo was showing off was a lot of those that now they're doing those kind of board games and card games that they're kind of doing in the Pathfinder universe. Those were most of what they looked like they were showing off. There might have been some Starfinder stuff, but I would have assumed maybe it was in the RPG room, which I don't normally check because that's a play area more than check out the buy area.
Yeah, I kind of doubt it because I haven't seen an announcement for their next thing, and they have already released all the Starfinder stuff that they're going to.
So I feel like they weren't going to be showing off any major things. I assume
they might have announced. They might have actually I feel like they might announce still the that book that I mentioned with the thing because they said it's going to basically be next.
Yeah, and the thing is I was fairly certain that probably Paizo, if they had anything, was going to be in the RPG room, which I don't normally go to because most of the time that's just selling books. They're not showing off anything particularly new or something like that. Very rarely. If they're showing off something really new, they put it in the main show floor, kind of thing like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was interesting. Tycoon Games had a big area. It's funny to see on some of their signage still says Tabletop Tycoon, their old name. So they haven't. Yeah, some of because they big things hang from the ceiling, and some of they've got stuff that they always had. Because different companies have things hanging up too. Their thing they hadn't changed yet. But it was definitely a who's who of a lot of big names, a lot of small names too. I think it felt a little better than last year in a lot of ways. It felt a little bit more organized. It felt a little less crowded, though it might still have been as crowded. I think they just were using their space a little bit better, almost maybe, spaced it out just a little bit better. That might have been it too. I think there was a couple larger rows last year, and the rows were still not big or too small. They were kind of the right size. So things felt spaced a little bit better. So it was never really stuffed. Because even last year on Friday, there were some areas that you were just stuffed in there. That was better too. Yeah, there was a couple of like small games I got to learn about. I'll have to talk about them when I like use my pictures and stuff too, because I'm looking through. I took like how many pictures did I take yesterday? I took a lot of pictures. I ended up. I can figure this out by like highlighting those. Go to the top. I tried to take a picture. 546 pictures yesterday. I would have taken video. I was able to charge my phone. Slideshow. But I also did get to hear and sort of join in some conversation with some people while I was in the media room. It felt like from some of those people too that were talking about it that like it just was a little bit better of a year. Which was good. They like some of the problems they had last year they kind of ironed out. Some of like it's just something about it was a little bit better, and like that's kind of like that can be hard to nail down the exact like fixes they've done and stuff like that. As I said, it can be as minor as figuring out spacing a little bit better or something like that for the booths, or just little things like that could just mean a lot. But it was nice to be there and check it out as much as I had problems. So yeah, I'll do the slideshow on Tuesday to talk about it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you had any questions about anything from there or wanted to know about any kind of games there that were there.
What was the coolest thing with a dragon that you saw?
Ooh, there were some pretty cool there were some pretty cool miniatures. There were a couple of companies that had some really awesome miniatures, and some of them were dragons. Like you would have gotten them not painted, but they like showed off like painted versions of those miniatures. Really cool looking. Yeah,
that's cool.
Oh yeah. The people that did the floral dragons were there.
Oh yes, them. That makes sense.
I can't remember the company name, but I noticed that they had like the floral dragons on there. Modifius was there too. That's right, Modifius was there.
Mm-hmm.
If Mongoose was there, I didn't notice anything related to Traveler.
Hit Point Press.
They do Hit Point. I might remember by game rather than by like name for them. I think I saw them.
Let's see. Humblewood. They do Humblewood.
Yes, I think I saw Humblewood. Because I also saw. Oh, they're the Floor Dragons people, aren't they?
That's what I said. They're the floral. You said I
Oh,
couldn't remember
you were giving the names. You were giving the names. Oh, I see what you're doing.
Yeah,
I misunderstood.
Yeah, Hit Point Press is the floral dragon people. They also do Humble.
Yeah. Green Ronin.
A few
was
other
there
things
too.
on here that I don't know, but I've not heard about from before. But those are the two ones I've seen.
Chaosium, of course, Asmodee and all of its subsidiaries were there, of course. Asmodee, because they have a lot of those subgroups of like they have like Cantan, Fantasy Flight, Edge Studios. They're this weird amalgamation of like an area they were there that like was so strange because it like took up multiple rows and was kind of this kind of blob shape that it was open enough you could pass through it, but it was just weird because they have so many small subsidiaries and stuff like that. It's kind of an odd thing. Renegade had its own area. I didn't say USAopoly, but I don't think I normally see them at all. Cobalt Press I know was there. Free League was there. Who else? Any other big people to talk about? Iso D&D, Steve Jackson kind of hit those up. I don't think I saw Onyx Path, but I don't normally see them much at this point in time.
I don't feel like they go to conventions.
Yeah. Like, Modifius feels like a hit and miss, because last year they really weren't there, but this year they were. But, that's the only thing I can say about Modifius is, like, I guess it depends on, like, what the kind of things they've been doing that year too, then. Certainly.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly. Yeah. I think that's most of the people at this point in time I could think of. Yeah. Again, I pretty much just got like a little bit of a walkthrough, got a few 5-minute spiels from like a couple different people here and there. So that's cool. I think the only other major 5-minute spiel that I heard about that I thought was really neat was someone did a Revolutionary War skin for 5e. So that's interesting because it's like it doesn't necessarily, you don't have to necessarily play Revolutionary War, but it is that time period, that like, 1700s kind of time period for adventure, which is a time period I guess we don't see a lot. It's usually like Renaissance or like 1800s, kind of like way that we kind of see things. There's a time period we don't see as much in like mid to late 1700s for tabletop that shows it off. And the real cool thing that they did, which was great, and it's really sad that 5e doesn't have it, is they did a goddamn weather and environment book.
Oh, good.
They called it Poor Witcher's Almanac, which really makes sense, is on the nose in a lot of ways. Also because, Ben Franklin. But yes, the Revolutionary War people did goddamn environments and weather.
So poor what almanac?
Poor Witcher's Almanac. The almanac that Ben Franklin... Richard. Yeah, it's the book that Ben Franklin did. If you look up the original, that's what it is. But the company did it. I called it that, or it might have been based on that name. Not to look up what their group was. Maybe I could find that out very quickly. Hi, Venture. Are you being a good kitty? No, of course not. Expo Hall map. Look at this thing. Look, that's how many different things are. This is why I can't have meetings. This is why you, even if you had 3 days, you can't fucking do all this. Look at how many people are there. It's a mess. Is that like 426 or something? Damn it, it's not numerical. Whatever. Anyway. So there were some cool things there. I saw. Briefly. But again, I'll have to go through all my notes and stuff for Tuesday. And maybe if we get more announcements and stuff, we'll talk about this next week. Kind of combine the announcements with anything else I've kind of digested from the entire time.
What was your favorite cosplayer that you saw?
There were a lot of cool ones. I'm gonna admit, a lot of them were based around like Critical Role stuff, or there are things that I've seen before that are fantasy related, but I couldn't place off the top of my head. No direct Baldur's Gate ones. I'll tell you that one. There was no direct.
Interesting.
There might have been there, but I just didn't see them. But like there are ones that I recognized as more Critical Role, and there was a couple that I recognized that I'm like, I know that from a fantasy, but off the top of my head, I couldn't remember it. But it definitely was a lot of like more role-playing adjacent cosplay this year. I felt like that felt like the more core of it. I feel like that's very interesting that the entire thing is focusing a little bit more on its cosplay, which isn't necessarily bad, but it was just a lot of the more pure fantasy when, yeah, it makes sense for this kind of convention, but there's enough kind of extra space in tabletop that you can get some of that stuff there too. I mean, look at goddamn Bessem in there, or like I'm passing by Japanime Games, where one of their big things is the what's the name of it? They have their VTuber card game, Oshipush. I remember the name of it. I don't remember the group of people that's based on. I don't know of those big groups of things. Sorry, I know part of it. But yeah, they're very big on that, showing that off. And then yeah, so like cosplay just was there, but not like hi fun. You're here too. You're joining us. You're scared away by people. But yeah, it's still impressive stuff. I also, which is, it's so funny because they're heavily successful now. You know what was the most interesting thing to see was Advantris Publishing. The Legends of Advantris guy, people have a booth with all their with their book and some of their side products they're putting out now, because they've been managed to get that successful to do it. They're they have become a rival in that kind of sphere
Oh, them.
of yes.
I what's funny is I know about them because of the like their D&D animations that pop up regularly in my
Yes.
YouTube recommendation for shorts.
I'm slowly but surely going through some of their campaigns. I will not.
I do want to. They actually do seem fun. So
yes. I've been kind of switching between their first campaign and their 5e Roots campaign, which is their animal campaign, just because those shorts were really good from those. And I've seen some of their more, recent shorts, which are pretty good too, but I'm like, I'm going to finish the old ones before I get to that. That's very slow because I just don't have a lot of time to listen to them. So it's occasionally when I'm like driving around and, I can put on a podcast or something, when I'm out in stuff too, or something that I can listen to. But thanks for stopping. It was very interesting to see them, because again, Critical Role, we can see kind of where they went to, and they had a kind of backing, but a group that's kind of similar to Critical Role but didn't have that we're voice actors backing to begin with, having them similar direction of success and getting it into that kind of publishing side when they've got a successful game, it's pretty cool. I'm very happy for them, too. It's very neat. I think that's about it that I can think about for the entire mess. Not thinking if there's anything else, I'm not remembering it right now off the top of my head, unless you have another question or something there too.
You already said you didn't see Paizo. Was D&D there, or was Wizards there?
In Magic, but as for D&D, not set up in any kind of booth. I think it's that kind of thing is Magic earns the money more than D&D.
Sadly, yes.
Yeah.
You want to know what's really funny is I think they'd earn a lot of money if they actually sold PDFs.
You're not wrong.
Because most people just use the content free on the website because it's more convenient than buying books.
They've made it such a chore to get books from them that it's sort of people just use the basics. Again, I love Archives of Nethys, but there are so many times where I'm like, this is just much better to go pick up a book.
Oh, no, yeah. I'm gonna be honest. What's really funny is because I read through the rule books, I've read through most of the rule books, I actually know better where things are in a book. I can be like, oh, what is that item? I know exactly where it is in this book. Yeah. But then I'm like, okay, on the website, where is it? So it's I don't know.
I think Archives is great. The information's all up there, but it's a quick reference. But there's so many times where I'm like, it's just better to look up in the book for a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, the website as a whole is a little bit more cumbersome because the information isn't just there. You have to click and then read and then go back and then click and then read and then go back,
Mm-hmm.
In most cases, it's a list of the feats, and then you have to. So it's good for basics, for certain basics. I tend to use it to look up a single magic items and stuff.
Yeah.
But
if there's something that I need to kind of pull out and just look up, just something specific, I think it's great. I need the stats of this, or what I sometimes will do nowadays is I have the monster core open to look at the other week I was doing angels. I look up angels there. I also open up Archives of Nethys because it gives me a full list of both the legacy stuff and the current monster core stuff. So yes, I'm going to be hey, the legacy stuff might not be there. It might be there, but I can reference that and I've got it there in front of me, And I think that's the useful thing is having something there in front of you just for a little extra, even if you're not going to use it as heavily deep, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
And again, maybe if you just look up one specific thing, that's good. Yep. But yes. I think I'll say, because I just want to keep it short, hey, I think that's a good place to do PAX Unplugged for now, and I don't know. If we talk about it next week, we talk about it next week. I'm going to pull it by ear because I'm going to say if there's any major announcements, and I feel like I have enough from my stuff left over, we'll talk about it. But if not, we'll just go into another deeper discussion topic. We'll see.
Okay.
I'll at least have that slideshow kind of thing on Tuesday, Rob, if I can. Tuesday or the next time I can get my phone working. So, that way, as soon as I can connect my phone up to my computer and copy a bunch of images in, we'll see when that's at. Ooh. So, all right, cool. Why don't we talk about our week in gaming?
Yeah.
I didn't have anything until Wednesday because, of course, Joe's game's this weekend. Did you have anything before Wednesday?
Wednesday. No.
Cool. All right, we had Fall of Abenswell. I think it was an interesting session, but again, it's one of those things is you definitely could have had a combat, but managed to avoid it. It's weird because the checks were so up and down, I think, this session. It's like you made really good checks when a lot of it mattered, and then you made a lot of really bad checks when things mattered.
Yeah.
But it was kind of weird.
And again, there weren't it was fine. We were just finding information. I'm still yeah. I mean, I honestly think breaking into the upper library would actually be an easy way to go about it. But whatever.
You really could. There are definitely different routes you could go in for the entire thing, and I think it's fine the directions you guys go. It does tend to be ways of you are avoiding danger a lot. I think that's the other thing too is
I ain't afraid of no big robots.
You're not, but apparently the other two players in your group tend to avoid combat like the plague, or at least suggest that.
Funny. It's funny because Ixpanor, yes, he's easily terrified, but he's also boisterous and overconfident. Until he hits danger, in which he's all "Oh right, I'm tiny and bite-sized."
Mm-hmm. It's just such a strange thing that I've been kind of because again, I don't think this area has been necessarily bad, but I do think there has been some kind of it's not perfect. It's got some balancing issues and some things going on that, it could be better kind of thing. And it's been hard to kind of think of a good way to do that better in a lot of ways because sort of
do what better again? Sorry,
the entire part of the adventure here,
Oh, yeah.
Because the ideas that would be very straightforward and maybe get you in some combat and maybe a little bit more adventurous, you don't tend to do that as a group.
This is what I was talking about. Okay, just look up. If you're not willing to, you need to use the side things, the side content in the DMG. I'm gonna literally point you to the spot. If
you pick out the page, I'll start reading up on it because that might help me because it's something that might help get me in the mindset to make up for some of this stuff of you guys, some of the actions you guys do.
Yeah, literally, it's just chapter 4 subsystems, and because they have a research subsystem, they have infiltration subsystem, they have influence subsystems. So it's or an influence subsystem. So it's there are things they have here. They put thought into this, and they're not bad. They even have an exploration system.
And I think that's the thing that maybe I have to start doing because sort of I don't always have a good direct replacement for we break in there and get into a fight. I'm honestly surprised you haven't tried to break into places. You guys talk yourself out of it. You talk yourself out of it.
I want to.
Yeah, you were they might do something about it, but they might also try to call security, but the network's down. And I'm yes, it is. You know about that. You probably could break into one of these places.
Again, they're like, we can come back to it. I'm fine. It's we'll do it as a secondary resort. Again, it's not. I'm being outvoted 2-1 in every case. 2-1 in every.
You're being, so. And also when they're talking about it, they talk them out of stuff. So I'm I guess you're gonna do this way, which is it's fine, but it's also the really safe route. I think that's the other thing about it is you keep going the direction they go are like well, it's the safe route. Cool. So I guess like some more
honestly,
like of those
I
subsystems,
kinda
if I
just-
would put them in there, might
Yeah.
help.
Yeah, like the research subsystem would have been a good use here. Like you could have actually had like a goal and how to go about it, and like had some ideas.
Would have been really good. That would have been very good since the research subsystem to allow you to do this stuff without just kind of like a very simple like check and I kind of tell you stuff thing, because it was kind of like it was also like I just was like you guys also kind of knew what you were looking for, but also didn't, which was the weird thing about it too. I'm like, especially in like the lower tiers, you didn't. I don't know. It was a kind of weird thing of like, I think it was a difficulty with the two of us. Me playing off you guys, I think wasn't as good as it could have been, but I think it was a kind of one of those things is like, I don't think either of us were doing anything necessarily wrong. It was just like, it was kind of like a difficult time to kind of play off. I think this kind of place here has been a little bit like that. Because as you said, I think it really is. Setting-wise, it makes sense for this really big, cool place, story-wise. But not getting to do a lot with it also. It is the distraction. It's the walk through someplace epic in a RPG in PlayStation 1, and it's really cool, but you can't do anything with it, but you want to kind of stare at it, or like it's the place in like an action RPG where you can look off and be like, oh, that's really cool over there, can I go over there? And it's like, maybe, but not right now. Or like, you can't be distracted by it.
Yeah, so like I'm gonna be honest, something you could do and something that might also help is to actually hint that something's there, because every time we've heard is there something on the third or fourth level, it's all like, it might be there. That's all the information we've gotten.
Yeah.
So like saying, oh yeah, no, it's definitely there, might make the two ones who are very who are very like against taking any risk actually think, okay, we know it's there, that means it might be worth it. But risking for a maybe, I think, is their biggest detraction.
Yeah. I think I feel like I've hinted at a few things here and there, but I think it's sort of like,
well,
you're right.
I picked up on it.
Yes. They aren't good enough hints, and they aren't straight enough hints. It's sort of like, I'm being maybe a little too subtle in a lot of ways, because I'm trying not to like throw it in the face. And you don't need to throw it in the face, but there is a balance between like subtlety and unsubtlety.
I'm going to be honest, you shouldn't have to, but I think you do for mostly Joe. Calder is risk averse as a character, whereas Joe is risk averse as a player.
Yes. That makes sense then, yeah. And sort of like, that's why the player then having his character kind of also be risk adverse means that both of them become risk adverse and do nothing then too. So it's, I think that's
like yeah, because like I can tell, like, the way he plays six is less risk averse, so it's like kind of fine. But Calder is risk averse. He's all like, I want to like, yeah, and that's fair. That's just that's fine to have a character who's like that, but it's just kind of So
with both of them being risk averse, it means that it's sometimes hard to throw you as a group in the correct direction.
Well, without a clear purpose. Like,
yes.
Again, it's just, and I actually think, now that I think about it, that's probably why we had that shift, because it was all like, as you mentioned before, how there's like a shift to less combat when we got Calder, lost Talus and Eskret. Suddenly I'm the only one who's willing to do risky things, and therefore we keep avoiding combat.
Because Eskret would have been on your side, part of it. And then Talus was just basically Talus wasn't necessarily risk adverse. Talus was going to be like, well, do we need to do that?
Talus was responsible, so it was kind of just like he would go against it if it meant, like, he would go, like, he would, like, okay, he'd be willing to break in as long as, like, in fact, knowing Momo, would be like, you guys are completely allowed to do, you guys can do that if you want. I will not join you, Like, that's his kind of opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like I think there's a little bit more because of the other two. You might need to dangle things a little bit more strongly in front of us.
Yeah. I'll work on it. I've been trying to work on it, but yeah, like I think taking a look at those.
It's one of those things. I'm gonna be honest. It's just been bad. It's been extra bad here. Like actually, that's the thing. Like you can actually kind of see. Like you threw them in prison, and they made decisions so fast. Like once you put the pressure beyond a certain point,
they made decisions
go
too fast. I'm sorry, that was the opposite. they went prison. Hell no.
So yeah, it's just kind of amusing. Or it's like anyway.
It's a weird thing.
I'm not. Again, it's not. I would not actually consider this entire. Like, I'd consider this like maybe 20% your fault because I think you could do things to fix it, but it is not your fault. Things are so stalled right now.
It's like, and the thing is, it's fortunate that it's not completely stalled, and you are still making progress. And like, I think that's the thing is why I'm not too concerned, because I think I gotta be honest. Even with we're going the same speed, probably going to be done by the end of the year. You know, if we keep at this speed, you're definitely going to be done by the end of the year. Because, like, I'm not going to lie. You can point out what you got to do. Tower, MacGuffin, use it. I mean, like, you're right there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and I think also Joe's being, now I think about it, Joe's being a little bit stubborn. He clearly wants to solve this in a specific way. Have you noticed? He keeps trying to go for like this religious route.
Yes.
So
and it's weird because I don't know what he wants out of his religious route, because
I don't either.
I think that's the thing, is I can't answer him with it because I don't know what he really wants. And it's not like there isn't something there when I think about it and when like we talk about this world. But if I don't know what he wants, I can't present that option. Like, he can explore it, but I don't know what angle he's going for. It's kind of like...
I can't help but feel like he's trying to bypass the security by being extra pious and knowing the like correct rights, or maybe there's a right to get past something. I don't like... that's the kind of idea I'm getting, but I have no idea what he's going for. Like, maybe we'll reach a door that requires a ritual to open, and he'll come into play there or something.
I wasn't necessarily planning anything like that, I will say. Like,
I would not be surprised. I would be kind of surprised if you were.
Like, I can kind of say that the upper tower is more religious centric, but it's not like it's weird because the people here are not necessarily extremists in their religion in a lot of ways, because they kind of just had direct access to their deities to a much better degree than your people ever did. You know,
there is a kind of funny thing where it's all like, oh yeah, no, God, he's real. Like, that actually almost lowers the amount of religious, like, when it's tangible, you know?
Yeah, because like it's that was supposed to be something that was kind of it's hard to reflect upon that, but that was something that was supposed to be for the world. Like, these first two intelligent species, one born from the sky god, one from the earth, were supposed to be like deeply connected with them and basically be able to communicate with them. We're supposed to be like these representations of them. And when the other gods popped up and their other species popped up, they were supposed to kind of look after the world in a lot of ways. And things became a mixed bag, and then things went wrong. And, you know, there's a lot of stuff that kind of goes with that story, you know? And, you know, that's the story of your world in a lot of ways. But, yeah, in this, their height of their culture, they were like, you know, I can call up God on the phone kind of thing, you know, like that.
Yeah.
They don't have to be super pious, like, you know, and I think that,
I mean,
it doesn't necessarily
like, they got rewarded for being pious. Like, the guy said, like, he was able to, like, get, like, something that allowed him to, like, do this process by being good, you know, in a way.
Like, even the crazy mad scientist is, like, pious and stuff, too. If you hear him talk, you know? Because, again, God's on speed dial, you know, you get stuff out of it. You know. Also,
yeah,
I guess
so
because like, it's the idea that all the constructs here work because they have like some kind of like little divine spark or energy on them. You've kind of learned about, you know.
yeah.
You know, that's another important aspect of it that kind of like shows that like, oh hey, yeah, we can bring our constructs to life with, you know, god magic.
Yep.
Awesome. Anyway, you know, I still think it's going okay.
Yeah.
I'm hoping because theoretically, in the next one, you're going to an upper tower and you'll won't have any kind of crazy stuff going on after that. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we went the basic way because they couldn't make decisions about any risks.
I was throwing a number of things at you, and it finally took to the person you found resurrecting themselves for that to work, which was the path that I wasn't necessarily thinking you were going to go, but it was an option I gave.
I didn't think we were either. I thought we were trying to do something else, but then we're like, well, let's go check out this lab. Maybe we'll find something that can get us more.
It was one of those things. It's like,
and then we got there, and it's all like, well, we're here. We might as well do this thing.
It was like, I presented it because I was like, it is a possibility, but it's not necessarily like, it wasn't 100% possibility. And there is like a lot of this entire like soul transfer kind of thing that's like, it's like, are you really yourself kind of thing in this person? And it's like, yeah, I lost a bunch of myself when I became this thing, you know? And it's like, I presented moral gray stuff and they were like, eh.
Yeah. It's like, oh, good, we don't have to make a decision. Yeah, we'll go for it.
It's like, we could make a decision or it could just be morally gray. Morally gray it is. Like, whatever.
Look, I'm trying, okay? I'm trying to make things interesting.
I think it's fine and fun. I mean, this was an interesting direction to go.
It's going fine, but part of me is just like, come on, guys. We gotta ramp up the action a little bit. This is kind of also a stream.
Like, I'm not gonna lie. Finding a way into that room as successful as you did was so impressive. You rolled all the right things. Because if not, you are just going to be fighting some robots. You might still fight robots before the end of today, before the end of this adventure here.
I mean, I totally... Again, the thing is, so, out of character, I recognize that you actually kind of hinted at it, that you designed fights with robots to happen in this city. And I'm like, oh, that means that, like as a player, I don't need to be risk-averse. Now, Ixpanor is slightly risk-averse, but he's also a lot less risk-averse than the other two.
The amount of things you've, like... You basically, rather than going a straight line, you've gone, like... And you've ended up there.
No, I see.
It's like, it's I know.
Weird... I see what you're doing, and I'm trying.
And again... If you roll well, I'm gonna reward it. Like, you rolled, and like, I was like, when you got down to that guy, he's like, I could have sworn the horrible security would have murdered you. That was really what he thought. Like, it was like, he's like, shouldn't you be like smashed to hearing something? And I'm like, yes, he's saying this for a reason. You rolled the stupid roll to get through there.
I got that. Yeah, I got that natural 20 to like examine the thing to figure out how it worked.
Yeah, I'm like, well, you figured it out, and like, I mean, like, you kinda could, but like, you got it down there, you know, you figured it out, and it was like, it was good. Anyway, well, I guess we'll turn to you, because I think the next thing for either of us would have been your Saturday game this morning, earlier on.
Yeah, so we continued the fight. It was looking really bad at the end of last session. We were literally ambushed, and then like they derailed our train and then ambushed us.
Ooh.
I'm gonna say I did a lot, honestly. I'm kind of surprised. So I paralyzed a wizard with a wand of paralyzation that I had. Then I what was it? Oh yeah, I did an illusory fireball which took out like 2 people, and then damaged a bunch of others. Because again, it's like they think they're hurt, which actually can like knock them unconscious.
I do like those spells that would do that, like where if you think you're hurt, you actually get hurt, kind of thing. Those illusion spells were always cool, weird but cool.
Well, yeah, the way it works in 2e is that if you die to an illusion, you roll a system shock, and if you fail that, you die outright as your body thinks you died.
Those are cool. I think those are neat. Those are weird little things that used to exist.
Otherwise, you're just unconscious for a little while.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I did that, which helped, and then I used a scroll to glitter dust people, which blinded a whole heck of a lot of them. Right, which by the way gives you a -4 to saving throws. Right before Solus cast a fireball on all of them.
Well.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on?
And,
I'm on fire!
Sadly, I did blind Finn, who also got fireballed, but thankfully he had fire protection. He did protection from fire before we even entered this, so...
Advantage at least to a small degree.
Yeah, because they were all, like, clumping him, because he's the highest level one of us all, Finn. And so he can take a lot more, so they were all kind of, like... They kind of reached a point where they were getting annoyed with him, so they all rushed him and like were trying to pull him down to like pin him. And that's when we were able to do that big double combo. Sadly, using him as basically bait.
It's fine.
Yeah.
One of you's got to take the
Aker also did some good. He switched from being... So he's multi-classing, but the way multi-classing works is if you use your old class, you lose... experience. It's a weird thing.
I haven't done
so he switched to his old
for so long.
Yeah, he did his he switched back to his paladin stuff to help us. He was super salty by the end because he felt like it didn't do a lot. But I don't know. I felt like it gave me the confidence, knowing that he did that gave me the confidence to help out Finn and that side of the fight. So it was kind of like, I don't know, I felt like it did a lot, but I can see why he's salty though, because he felt like I only took out like 2 guys after I went supernova, and then like, and it's like, yes, but you also tanked the guy who was, you know, like the mini boss guy that was over there, and yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Still seems fun overall.
Also, the GM's actually nice about it, because apparently if you use your other class at all by the rules, you're supposed to lose experience for the whole adventure. He does it just for the encounter.
Yeah, I can see that being a little, like, harsh of a punishment.
Yeah.
Oof. Then again, like, it's one of those things is AD&D is the ups and downs of harshness sometimes. I will always forever hold up and look at you. Level drain.
Yep. I mean, you actually... I mean, to be fair, like... But here's the thing, too. Like, level drain in 3E is painful. It's a lot more painful because levels matter a lot more. In 2E, levels actually don't matter as much. It's still annoying. It's still a pain. But it's not like the end of the world like it is in like 3E, where it's like, oh, I'm a lower level. I literally can't help you guys anymore because I get +5 instead of +7 to my attacks, you know? And it's like that too made a big difference.
It is a little less harsh. Yes, it's permanent, but it is less harsh. I agree on that one. I still like... There was still a lot of stuff that I remember happening when dealing with that kind of stuff that still really sucked. So it's kind of like, it is a thing of like... It doesn't depend on the adventure and the setup too. But on general principle, if you just look at it mechanically, it isn't quite as bad, yes. It's just situationally, there are definitely certain adventures or things that could happen, then it kind of ends up being that way. I think I was doing a adventure that, a little bit of one that it really hurt a lot when it happened. So
I feel like if you're doing like an adventure, yeah, it's really bad because the adventures kind of expect you to kind of have some progress.
Yeah.
But like the open-end adventure where the GM's tailoring everything, it's not going to be a big deal.
Yeah. But I didn't do a lot of stuff outside some of the pre-made stuff from second edition anyway. Unfortunately, I didn't have a lot of chance to do that, and then I moved on to third edition. So
yeah. But yeah, all in all, we kind of actually made them route. Apparently, the GM actually rolled because we actually took a beating in the beginning. Granted, having a whole week to prepare in between really helped us all, step our game up.
Yeah.
But the dwarves apparently had to make he told us later, they had to make a morale check because they were getting beaten so badly. The dwarves we were with. And they apparently rolled super well, so they all stuck around.
That's definitely an interesting one where, like,
Oh, that would have been... I'm going to tell you right now, it would have been so bad if all those people turned on the PCs if the dwarves, like, surrendered or left.
Jeez. Wow.
Yeah.
But interesting. Very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. All right. Cool. Well. I guess that's our week in gaming and our week for this week. I think it was a pretty good week to chat about some things. So we got some things on the next week coming up. Maybe a little bit more PAX Unplugged. Hey, we added a few more topics to the list. I usually go for the newer topics anyway, so we might come up one of those relatively soon. Cool. It's only rare that I kind of pull back on the really ancient topics that I had on my list, even though, like, I probably have to just redo the entire list at some point in time.
You probably should mix it up a little bit, but yeah.
I do occasionally pull out one of those, but it's kind of like we did all the really good ones, and I left all the ones that are, like, weird, or when I put them on the list, like, a couple years ago, they were, like, better than kind of thing. Like, it was a more relevant topic back then.
You're gonna make me have to go. Okay, I'll try looking up ship combat, like, because I've actually purchased a bunch of books that had ship combat in them. So like I actually could. I need to go through now and just look at them again because it has been a while since I did that.
Ooh, I haven't
knowing that it's coming up.
I haven't looked up anything ship combat related since I did Buccaneers of the Shackled Sea, when I tried to make ship combat work in that game, and then I basically, like, threw it to the side and was like, hands up, not doing it anymore. I gave up.
Yeah.
But it is also, like, it was trying to make it work in Pathfinder 1E, too.
Yeah.
Which, I just couldn't easily enough adapt Starfinder's system, which was the best idea I had. And I looked into it and I was like, this is just going to be too much of a headache. I can also just skip ship combat, technically.
It is full thrust. That's the thing. Yeah.
So, Worm, what's your next schedule? Why don't you give your shout out and I'll throw this into
I'm DiamondWyrm. You can find me on twitch.tv/DiamondWyrm or at DiamondWyrm on Twitter and Blue Sky, and DiamondWyrm9234 on YouTube, and next stream should be tomorrow.
Cool.
I should be playing, actually, Tactical Breach Wizards again. I took a break because Daylight Savings killed my brain, and I didn't want to play a tactical game. But now I'll finally be back to that.
Cool. Nice. Myself, I'll be back Tuesday. I'll probably do at least a little bit of Silk Song. If I get my phone working enough, I'll do the slideshow beforehand. I'll plan for both of those. And then, next week, I've got some tabletop on the schedule. The only thing is there might be some moving around on Thursday. I probably will still stream, but it'll probably be later on in the evening for that day, at least I can say, for like some tabletop recording. After all the Thanksgiving stuff is said and done. Because I'll probably be more middle of the day anyway. And then Friday should be still good to go, which I think we'll probably do Windblown. We've still been enjoying Windblown and checking out we still haven't gotten to the real new stuff. I think that's the entire thing is, I think we'll keep going and we'll definitely do the new stuff. And then after that, I don't know, maybe we'll keep it on the agenda, maybe not. I guess it depends on what you and Blaze feel like. Because I'm like...
I mean, it also depends a little bit on what Windblown does. I might put it on the back burner for a while.
Yeah, like, I feel like once we've seen the new stuff, since you guys played through it a lot, maybe we'll put it on the back burner until a new update. Kind of like with Peak, we usually revisit it when they got a new update, and I guess this time we'll keep an eye out on the daily rotation, so when we get the new places, we'll kind of revisit it at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, we're almost done Grounded too. Also, we're Not necessarily
we're
there,
getting to the end, yeah, that is
but we're getting pretty close. We got most of the things. We've beaten at least one of the bosses, a couple of the bosses actually now. So I don't know. We're getting pretty close to the end there. We'll have to figure out what we're gonna do after that. I don't know if we want to hop into a game that's unfinished, or like one that's in early access, or wait, or another one that's complete. I guess we'll have to talk about it.
Mhm.
But anyway, still got some weeks before that at least. All right, everybody. Yeah. Have a great rest of your day, weekend, and until next time we kind of hang out and chat, and hopefully you can join us next week for Discussing Tabletop. And again, thank you, Worm, and all that kind of stuff. And hey, check out my stuff. Make sure if you're on YouTube and watching this here, make sure you're subscribed. It helps the YouTube channel support it and make content like this. And yeah, check us out other places. And until next time, farewell, goodbye.